Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to another episode of Downtime, the Hangar, where we talk about all things GBO2 and sometimes other things. So today I'm joined by Gustav the 13th
Yep.
and Gaming Emblem.
Hi guys.
So guys, how was your past week? How's it been going?
It has been lovely.
How's the deliveries going, Gustav?
Yeah.
It's been interesting. Been trying to be a little bit more spotty with them just because we're starting to shut down a little bit more restaurant wise and all that. But it hasn't been too bad. Like besides a couple changes here and there, there's less traffic in the places now anyway, so it kind of makes my shit easier. Not for the right reasons, but it works out.
I can believe that though.
It's a little daunting because I ended up having to go to one of the hospitals and like seeing the front lobby be like a ghost town while like all the side lobbies have like cars lined up to do like testing and stuff. So that was a little weird. But slowly but surely they're starting to get more supplies, so we're probably gonna start getting more orders from people that are working there during the day.
So how's the games been going?
Game wise, well, we finished up Kingdom Hearts 3. We also
I
did
caught that in.
Untitled Goose Game.
I saw that.
That was pretty fun.
I saw that last night, yeah.
Kingdom Hearts 3 is fucking bonkers. Like the way that ended, the fact that there's like another fucking secret movie to get after getting a certain amount of pictures and shit. And apparently there's even more information in the DLC that dropped recently. Like, I don't even know where to start with that. But apparently also Goose Game has a hard mode list to fuck around with too. So like we'll be revisiting those at some point. Just need to try to figure out what we're gonna do next. Apparently RE3's demo dropped yesterday, so you might try that. I'm not sure what else is gonna be going on. But we'll see. That's GBO2 is just a mainstay at this point. Like it's gonna be there as long as it's still going.
Yeah, the Kingdom Hearts 3 thing, all I know for the most part is
darkness and hearts.
About as
and
bad
my
as,
friends.
About as bad as like Destiny characters in like
Oh god.
I actually don't know how much they actually say twisted, but I know in the Dynasty Warriors Gundam game they're like it's twisted, it's twisted.
Oh, no.
Like I could just play for like 3 hours and probably
that are just like in general with Gundam, just the amount of people screaming, "This is war!"
Yeah.
Or so this is war.
Pretty much. I always quote that he's fast. Like, it's just
all day.
Everything. But yeah,
that's the mark of power in Japan. Apparently, it's just speed.
Yeah, fast, man. Gotta go fast, dude.
Never mind how strong they are. That's just a given. They just got to be fast. Like damn.
That reminds me of me and a friend playing like you had to hit the wall so the buttons would light up. So we were playing that and we were just like, I was like, man, I'm a percussionist, dude. You don't know what you're getting into. And he's like, I do martial arts. And I'm like, okay. So we're just there. And it's just like, there was like a couple of people that was just like, what in the world? Who are these guys? And we're going hard. Like we hit a new high score, and then he hit a new high score, and then each side. It was pretty funny. That was a fun day at one of those arcade things. But yeah, Emblem. So how's your week been? You feeling better?
I mean, it's probably about the same as it was today. It's kind of weird. It's kind of like stuff just moves around. One day I'll be like, oh, I feel pretty good. Feel pretty good, like sinus wise, and then it'll be like the next day it'll be worse in my throat or whatever. I don't know. I'm a mixed bag of emotions and feelings right now. But overall, I'm doing well enough.
I mean, it sounds kind of more like common cold stuff. I got a couple of things in there that I'll go look after this and let you know the name of a couple of things if you get. You can help kick a lot of those, especially if you want to wake up feeling not like garbage, congested.
Yeah, I think part of it was because my humidifier wasn't ready. Like I usually have it set up. Like I was very dry this morning. Um, I think it'd have been good if I'd actually had water in there the other day.
But yeah, how's the games been going? Games wise, what are you doing?
Mainly GBO2 and Fantasy Star Online 2 right now. Um, I'm playing PSO2 on the Xbone right now. Can't wait till the PC release.
Oh yeah, that looks so good.
Yeah, it's fun. Like I think I'll mostly be excited for being able to play it on PC, but um just having the opportunity to actually get in there and play it again is pretty nice. It's been a long time. And it's nice having it in English. Even though I know an English version existed before the official English release, but it's nice not having to download the patch or whatever, just be able to play the game normally.
I mean, pretty much GBO2 things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of deal.
I mean, Gundam stuff in general until recently.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, by the way, though, we need to get some more Path of Exile going. Like, I got another character pretty much right there at the same spot. So, yeah, I'm good to go. Next time you want to play, just let me know.
Oh yeah, for
But
sure.
so I'm pretty much
But
figured
yeah, I
out.
mean, sorry, this
Oh,
game stuff. I was just gonna say, like, too many games, not enough time. On top
pretty
of
much.
like,
And it's only
I've been
gonna get
sleeping a
worse
lot.
in April.
Yeah.
Holy
I
shit.
mean, honestly, I would love Doom Eternal, but that's just way out of the budget.
I saw Doom Eternal yesterday. Maximilian dude was playing it like fully unlocked and all that. Shit looked amazing.
like, yeah, that. The
Is the game not all the way out yet? You said fully unlocked.
Fully unlocked in terms of like specs, but yeah, technically it's not supposed to be out yet. We still got like a day to go.
I see.
He got like an early, I think, evaluation copy and was able to play it because the NDA was up.
Yeah.
Because Animal Crossing actually also got leaked and people were playing that early too.
Of
That's
course.
an
A
interesting
couple
one.
people were sending their orders out too soon. Which is probably for the best because most people that would get it normally, they're probably going to be delayed because Final Fantasy VII's remake, some of the physical copies are going to be delayed.
Yep.
Because they're
Yeah, I saw a thing from GameStop about how they were going to be doing stuff for I think it was Kingdom Hearts early because of social distancing on their physical releases. So it's
Kingdom
interesting.
Hearts, like Remind?
That's Kingdom Hearts. I meant Animal Crossing and Final Fantasy VII.
Okay, yeah, that makes more sense.
There we go.
But
Did I say Kingdom Hearts? That's weird.
Yeah, you said.
No,
Well, I mean, we were just talking about
that's
it.
because we were talking about it.
yeah, I mean, GameStop right now, apparently there's an article that came out. They apparently had the gall to call themselves essential retail, and that's the reason that they're trying to stay open despite everyone else shutting down.
Yeah, I heard about that and that whole controversy.
Which is a little rough considering that Fizame also is like trying to get in there to turn things around.
Well, and then
So even though it's not his doing, it's probably gonna be put on him a little bit. He'll probably have to speak out every time they do something stupid.
pretty much. I mean, the other thing too is they were apparently not even providing them with any kind of gloves or anything like that.
No,
at all.
It's still the same smelly ass store that it's always been.
Yeah. So it's just like there was no extras, and they're like, oh no, we're gonna have hand sanitizer and all this, and it's just like, oh, we can't afford that. Oh no, it's just like.
Yeah, sometimes it seems like they forget like how much in the hole they are most of the time. So things are looking up just because they got a couple extra people in there, but like that hasn't changed how long they've been struggling.
But yeah, pretty much the games and stuff I've been up to, other than just trying not to get outside. That's yeah, for the most part, trying to stay safe. But games wise, Path of Exile, gonna be doing a lot of that still. I want to do Doom Eternal. Probably gonna be doing since Borderlands 3 just decided to half off itself. Yeah, gonna be playing that with Chad probably sometime next week, maybe, or somewhere in the future. Tarkov. is coming up, I guess. But been trying
You
to
s-
practice on that. But yeah, mostly just GBO2 dailies and Path of Exile has been recently. The new raid for Monster Hunter World, I think, hits tomorrow, something like that. Because the
for
patch was
PC or just across the
for
board?
the PC. It's already been out for PlayStation, but we're catching up to PlayStation, and they're going to be on the exact same patch after like April, somewhere in mid-April. Actually, I don't think there's an actual set date, but that
Yeah.
whatever that patch number is in around mid-April, then both are going to be completely synced up, and I'm like, maybe we get cross-platform,
Maybe.
So that'd be really cool if we actually fully sync up and then it becomes cross-platform that way. That would be
If it
legit.
goes cross-platform, I'd probably start playing on PS4 again.
I know there's probably going to be a few people who rage about buying 2 copies,
Yeah.
but but still though, if it somehow does that, then everybody can just play together. That would be legit, and that would also save a couple of people I know that were thinking about buying copies for PC. But yeah, um, but yeah. Anyway, let's get into the stuff and things. So, the new suit, the Agu guy.
It looks so cool.
I can't decide whether I want to spin on it or not.
Give me your
But
tokens. I'll decide for you.
Decide for him, right? Yeah, the player. Yeah,
well,
same here.
I mean, have you guys played against it yet or seen it in action?
I have, and I've clapped it, but it's still really fun to see. Because I was in the cold districts, but still, there's a pair of them, and they were actually doing most of the work for their team. Just all those
This is what the
tentacles
hit
flying
rate are.
around.
I know female mobile suits are gonna have a problem in the game going forward. Let's hope no
no.
Belgundam never gets put in.
So, for real though, like, you know why I want it?
Hmm.
Because it can decimate a base in like a minute and a half.
Oh shit! Did
So
you see
this,
someone do it?
so this, Draven actually mentioned how he chunked it and was able to kill a base in like a minute and a half.
Damn.
So, all I'm saying, instead of the Zeong cheese, we're just going straight Magnum cheese now. That's all it's called
Agu
now.
guy cheese.
Like, for real though, back to kind of my theory on how bases work damage-wise, right? So the
Mhm.
Zeong chunks it. The Super Gundam chunks it with its beam. Something that has a lot of damage like the Jaeger still kills it fast with beams, but it's not that crazy. Machine guns do nothing to bases pretty much. Melees, same, except for the Agu guy. What's the difference? And I'm gonna try this out with the Goof here, but I think it's because it's like swings penetrate, right? Because they go through all the targets in front of them and knock down everybody.
Mhm.
Well,
It's
it
multiple
has
hitting. You mean?
what?
You mean like it could be multiple hitting?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
That's probably why it chunks is because it's not only just. I mean, it's one hit, but it's hitting this piece, that piece, this piece, that piece, and I think that's why you see a big chunk on a lot of stuff like the Zeong because everything pierces for the Zeong,
Right.
and then missiles and explosions just naturally do a lot of damage. I sat trying to test this out with like say the couple of machine guns, and like 2 cannon shots from like a gun cannon was the same thing as just like sitting there for 5 minutes with like the bullpup. That doesn't make any sense, right? So at that point, I was like, so machine guns and melee do nothing. Explosions do awesome stuff. Beams do a bit more. They're kind of like somewhere in the middle between explosions and machine guns. And then if they pierce, which the only one I have tested with, not extensively, but just enough to be like, I got an idea, log out and jump back in to practice on another suit, was with the heavy Gundam. If you charge its beam up, it pierces. If you don't, it doesn't pierce. So I shot the base, and the health went like, chunk, cool. It's a chunk. Then I charged it up. It was like, chunk, and it was like a big chunk. So I haven't like compared it, like doing 2 overlays and then taking a screenshot and then comparing, but I don't
Yeah.
know if I think it was more damage just because of the pierce rather than just the bonus it gets for charging the beam to full. So that's my theory, but then I'm gonna have to compare the distance and then see if the percentage would actually be the percentage more damage gained over the charge compared to the non-charge. So, but I mean, and then the aggro guy comes out and it can like decimate bases because it has just the whip that goes through everything.
So in terms of
kinda
its
gross.
hits, is the does it have an opposite or like an alternate poke for that neutral that actually does it do like hard stun?
So that I don't know. I don't know what kind of stuns it does, but it does have. I mean, it's straight heat rod that comes out of both.
Yeah, because that's the thing. They're essentially still heat rods.
Pretty much. So it's a heat rod that you have a wide area to not miss. The secondary whip is a heavy stagger, what Cortez is saying.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Say,
So,
Corez was
that's
out
what-
there clapping it with it yesterday, apparently.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to pull up. The highlight from that. But the yeah, so that's a heavy stagger. So it's just like a BD heat rod or a custom heat rod. And then you have multiple swings of the essentially heat rod whips from the Goof custom, or the regular Goof, as its normal melees.
Yeah, which is
just dumb.
amazing.
So you're just like smack, smack. You know, you got what is it, 2 because of combat controller 1. And then the downswing is 2 different hits. That is just like an AoE that fans out in front of it. Like in the game that I played, our aggro guy like knocked down like 5 people with 1 downswing. Like
Holy
3
shit.
enemies and 2 teammates. It was just gross. So this thing's really cool. That's about all I gotta say.
Hopefully one of us gets it. What's going on,
I mind
Nachi?
it.
I figure since it's a 2-star, I'm gonna probably not roll for it just because, and just wait till it just happens, because it probably will. That's just normally how all 2-stars work for me. But yeah, then it has a Vulcan in its head. We might be able to see
Yeah.
here. Wait a second. There we go. We might be able to see some of the damage here. Yeah, that's just gross. That's some clap right there, dude.
Gotta give the boys the tickling, man.
That is nasty, dude.
Just straight Diddletown with that fucking shit. It is rough.
See, now we have a raid that's trying to have fun with the supports. You know, they don't want to bully them; they just want to tickle them.
Oh
Yeah,
no!
this is my I believe you face.
Yeah,
Someone someone called the CD police.
I mean, this thing is the definition of long range melee, though. Like, that is the scary part about it. I don't know. I think I fear this thing at 350 right now. I think I fear this thing more than I fear a DS. DS doesn't have a wide range, like, heavy stagger. I mean, it has a shotgun, but yeah. So, pretty cool suit. I'm glad they added it in just because when I saw that it was on the list of suits from the first game, I was like, yes, please. We need this
It's
thing
interesting
now.
because again we have another suit that's not gonna be available for the clan matches rewards.
Yeah, that's true. That is a good point.
So I'm kind of curious going forward what they're gonna be doing with that, and we're gonna be seeing eventually because it's gonna supposedly they're gonna be starting it back up in April, but we don't know specifically when in April. I don't think there was even any mention of clan stuff in the update notes this time around.
Yeah, actually, I have them up right here. Have anything at the bottom? Negative. It's not even here. So it's just taken out of it. Period. Just mentioning clan ranked.
And it's been like that for a few weeks now.
Well, I mean, they're not going to be doing anything until April anyway. So,
Yeah, so fair enough. But I mean,
I would
like,
assume
There's
they
no
put
need for
something
them to
ahead of
update it,
time,
right?
though.
I mean, they still have time though. It's only like the middle of the month.
overall, by the way, the skills and stuff for the Agu guy, it has stealth level 1. It has maneuver armor and I believe a dodge roll.
See, I didn't know it had stealth. That's kind of neat. I can
Yeah.
dig that.
So I had the skills somewhere here in the screenshot. I think I'd have to change Discords to look at it, but actually, I have a phone. We have the technology. But yeah, the stealth is kind of nice. I was playing the At guy because I wanted to try the new one.
Mhm.
We'll get into that, but the At guy feels good at 250. 14,000 something health on an At guy at 250.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I was doing a practice session here with it at like 500 for the 351.
Yeah.
Not too shabby. Like, the AI is still a little stupid, but like the damage you can still do to higher like supports in general is pretty surprising.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. It is gross what they did to that thing, really. But okay, let's see. Here we go. Okay, we have high performance balancer, maneuver armor, anti-blast stabilizer, head buffer, emergency evasion system. So it does have a dodge roll. That's pretty much really what I was looking at. High performance radar, stealth level 1, and melee combo controller. Yeah, 17, and this is at the 351, which is what I was curious to see if anything went up like the stealth or whatever. But at 350, it has 17,500 health.
Damn.
That's kind of insane. And this thing isn't slow either. 120 speed.
It can waddle with intensity.
I know, right? But yeah, I kind of want this thing a little bit, but probably not enough to spend a lot of tokens. I think this will be a sleeper week just because I tried for the weapons rack and I'm already burnt on 2 stars again. Like once I get burned on 1 2-star rolling so much, I don't roll on the next 2-star. Especially when there was a half off and I still didn't get it.
Yeah,
That's
that was a
bad.
shitty week.
Yeah.
Hitting another bit of a drought recently in terms of that.
You know, we've been asking for the Akai Thunderbolt. I think this will hold us over for a little bit.
At least a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm still hoping for that at some point. That'd be amazing.
The Vulcans though on it seem like they're just bad. Like you have to pretty much do the entire thing before you can get a stagger. So they're just for supplemental damage, looks like.
Some people actually used to lead up with them on the Act guy by itself. I wonder if there's like a big difference between the two.
Well, the Ag guy now just staggers like you're just like pew, 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 stagger, go in for the melee and just wreck somebody's face, or swap to the beam and then beam them twice and then melee them. Also, your melee hitbox is huge now, which I'm skipping ahead with that. But man, the Ag guy is gross.
Koraz is over here like, now we just need the egg.
Pretty much, yeah. That's. But yeah. Any other thoughts about the Aggie guy? It's just really cool.
Looks really good. Yeah, like it. I think the reason they didn't roll out much buff wise for low cost raids is because they knew that they were going to release this suit, and they're just like, well, this will be a buff in and of itself.
I still have a problem though. Its base level is 250.
Right.
Yeah, so 200
's a
still
little bit of
getting
an issue.
So
I
yeah,
agree.
200. And when we get to the buffs and stuff, since the Akai is one of the first on the list, I do have one big complaint about 200 cost right now. I think you can guess what I'm gonna say, but yeah, I'll save it for then. But anyway, the rest of the news for it, and I'll go ahead and bring that up. So yeah, we got the. Whoop. Here we go. Zagaki level 3, assault gun tank level 2, and G-line light armor level 2. Yeah, the level 2 of the assault gun tank still hasn't been really touched as far as nerfs go, where the 1, I think they went a little too far. 2 feels pretty good. You don't have the hill to offer. Definitely a good alternative.
Hill offer's been a little bit of a mixed bag when I see people run it.
Yeah, you pretty
I
much
feel like they're getting suppressed a lot more than they used to.
also don't miss the cannon.
Holy.
That's the biggest thing. If you miss the knee stagger, then you lose a lot of your bully. But if you hit the knee stagger, then you get to bully somebody for 3 years.
It might also just be because like a lot of the suits is dealing with that higher cost are just like really fast.
Yeah.
So now like in its transform mode, it's not able to outrun things as easily as it used to.
Maybe it's. I still think it has a really solid place at 400, but level 2, I could kind of see that. I will say the assault gun tank has one really cool feature that once you get used to using is pretty amazing, and that's the rear jettison bomb on its
The
back
butt bombs
that you can see there in the picture, barely.
Yep, gotta be Donkey Kong.
Now that I've kind of gotten used to like stopping, backing up, and just shooting one off, and then just driving forward, turning around, and then popping somebody because they're taking a knee. Then you can pretty much do the same thing. So you drive past, bump them, then blow them up with a bomb, then turn around and just bully all you want, and then stagger them again, and then run into them. So it does have a crazy combo. It's just the skill cap for the Hildoffer is don't miss your one shot. Cool. And the gun tank is like do all this extra stuff to get the same
don't
result.
Ignore your other weapons.
It's like what? Oh, I will say though, their nerf to the stealth smoke for both of them is
Kinda
gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you get one stealth like every 3 minutes now or something. Like it's
I
not
wouldn't
that
be
bad.
surprised if
but
I wouldn't be surprised if they changed things a little bit just because of some of the buffs we got recently for raids. Because
yeah,
now they have even more studs to contend with that's like actually competent.
yeah. The smoke nerf I feel is a little too harsh. Like I mean, before you could keep it up pretty much indefinitely.
Mhm.
Yeah,
But
that's a little bit too good.
yeah, it was way too good. Like that was dumb. Like now instead of keeping it up indefinitely though, it's like got a minute or 2 cooldown. Like it's gross how long the cooldown is. I actually don't know.
You gotta find like a middle ground for it now.
Like I'll pop smoke right before I'm about to go in, and then I'll like kill 3 suits or something, and then be like, okay, I need to pop smoke again, and it's like halfway on the bar, and I'm like, what? So yeah, I don't know. It just seems like it takes 3 years to ready up again. I wouldn't be surprised if it was like a minute and a half. But yeah, Slow gun tank, can't recommend. What do you guys think about the G-line light level 2 and the Zagaki level 3?
Real quick before we go into those other suits, I just wanted to kind of piggyback on what you guys kind of said a second ago about like with the rate adjustments being made, that it'll lead up to other suits getting adjustments as well. And I've heard that a lot. And like I don't know, for me personally, I don't see why people are looking at or like hearing this information coming out about the raids getting a buff and are like, oh well, that means that they're gonna adjust to all the other classes too. Like I personally, unless I just missed something, that these changes weren't made because they were like, oh, there were certain suits. I mean, there were certain suits that were underperforming, but like it wasn't like they were just like we handpicked these suits because raids were doing poorly. Like from the information they were presenting, raids just in and of themselves weren't getting a lot of play and the cost that they specified. Like it wasn't so much that like certain suits needed help as much as it was that like the entire raid class was pretty much sending out a cry for help. You know, like I think I think if that wasn't the case, they wouldn't have even mentioned the fact that they were considering to change the damage triangle in favor of raids not take as much damage from generals. So I mean, I personally don't think like unless just a suit is performing poorly and they use their normal like algorithms to determine buffs and debuffs and such, I don't think that we'll see any adjustments made because of the raid changes. Personally, like that's not what those changes are made for. It's made to help raids, not to touch on every single class or suit in the game or anything like that. But I'd like to hear what you guys think about that too. Just because, like I said, I've heard it a lot.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
last week I even said like, "What do you guys think?" I think it was last week when we were kind of talking. Whenever we were talking about the changes, I was like, "Do you guys think we're going to get changes for each like generals next, and then supports? Is that what they're going to do?" And then you did make the point of like, well, this was in response to pretty much 500 just being
Right.
no raids at all, and I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, fair enough."
Well,
They
yeah,
fixed
I
the
was more
Akai,
bringing it up
and
though.
what I
Mhm.
think though is that they could. Well, no. I mean, I agree with you right now. Like that's pretty much after you pointed that out last week. I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But I was just like, ooh, I was googly eyed because I'm like, yeah, supports finally, you know. And I even had some people yesterday being like, looking as I was looking through the patch notes, being like, really, no support stuff? They got general stuff in there, and I'm like, yeah, but the VD is the only buff, and that's just because they came out with a new level of it, and they try to buff things when they come out with new levels of suits that are kind of underwhelming. Which
Yeah,
they finally did the Goof
VD
custom.
was actually pretty amazing when it first came out, just because of how fast it was. But like, there are so many suits that can do what it does with or without the lunge,
Yeah,
so it did need some help there.
and then the only other
And
general
the Mark
changes.
II changed. The Mark II debuff was actually something that we expected was going to happen regardless of the raid changes.
Yeah, and that was a raid change essentially, because the other stuff was 500 cost nerfs, 500 and up nerfs to the general types. So that was essentially the 500 and up buffs to the raids was there in those two. The VD buff was just kind of a bonus, and if we didn't have the raid changes, then the only thing in the patch notes would probably just be the VD buff, and that would have been it. So that was kind of my point. And I think what we might get though, and what I'm hoping for, is kind of what you said though, is like maybe specific suits targeted in each cost or even in each type that might get brought up. So it's kind of my hope. So like
Mm-hmm.
trying to think of something, maybe something they added levels to that they didn't buff, specifically 2 levels to it. Gun cannon 2,
Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
like
Yeah, that suit needs some love. It's in a bad place.
I mean it's kind of, I feel like it has the problem that the Gan has, which I mean we'll see it here in a second, but they kind of they gave it more melee. What? The Gan has more melee damage.
No shield, lol.
Still a no
Still
shield.
no shield, but it's got more melee damage. I'm like,
Hell yeah. Give it more pokey pokey.
I mean, at this point, I
Because
would
if
have
the raid's having
take that
problems-
back and give it a shield at this point, and I would have been like, this thing's
Give it the pokey
awesome.
pokey.
Now you've got even more poke. I don't know if that's the way to balance it out, but anyway, we'll get to that when we get there. But my point is the Gun Cannon 2 kind of has the same problem. Like, what are they going to do? Just give the beam more damage? Like, the way they're wanting to set it up is that it has to stand there to shoot. So other than charge time and more damage, I feel like that's what it's just going to get. And it's still a sniper suit, essentially. That's how you want to play it. But I feel like what's going to happen is they're going to possibly over-tune it, and then it's just going to be like this one-shot sniper suit that just kills whatever you shoot at. And I don't know how you would actually balance that suit without breaking essentially the suit's lore.
Or like its purpose, yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean
So-
that's gonna be something, you know, we can reach back to when we were talking about Zeta suits in general and just how more they perform than other suits. Like high cost in general is gonna be like that. A lot of these suits that have more methodical playstyles are gonna get rushed and clapped a lot more often as things get more high performance. So there's also has to be a question as to how much these guys need to get bumped up in level, what cost they're really going to belong at, because we have a couple more cost ranks to go through, you know, up to 700. And yet we're seeing some of these really old suits still getting bumped up to try to fill out those rosters in the meantime.
Yep. So it's gonna be interesting, but that's kind of my thoughts on the if they're gonna actually do a pass on certain suits. I could see them doing a pass on, you know, because they're taking the data, right? They're taking the win-loss data on things. I
Mhm.
mean, that's essentially how I view the Akai. Like, yes, they were doing raid changes at 500 and up, but the Akai was just a suit at low cost that they were like, oh, this thing needs a fix, right?
More love.
Yeah, so I feel like what we might see is targeted suits like the Akai. So I feel like the Akai was just, or the Thunderbolt, the full armor
Mhm.
Thunderbolt. Like those two suits were kind of just specifically targeted, and it was just kind of bonus that that they're in there essentially. Whereas the other stuff was kind of bringing them up to kind of deal with the generals. Now, I mean, the Thunderbolt is technically a 500 cost, but it was just so weak that it needed stuff. Period. Right?
I love that its weapons are a bit stronger and faster now, though. I kind of wish that it still had more, but like everything else that they did to that list is massive.
It had more what? Sorry, you cut out.
It had more motor speed for its reticle and all
Yeah,
that.
I'm thinking about
But
putting
like
on
they've
a
done so much
rotation.
other stuff to it that you can kind of neglect some of those other parts and just put a field motor on it anyway if you want.
That's what I was gonna say. I'm gonna try to do a field motor on that one. It played really well though. Ended up in a custom game with 4 on the enemy team, and then like
Damn.
2 on our team, and we kind of
Also,
decimated them.
I'm glad that they gave its melee some too.
Oh yeah, that's a big deal. You can actually melee, and it's got a huge hitbox, so it's really easy to hit now.
But in terms of like adjustments for other suits, I think they're just going to do what they've always done and just look at the stats overall. I think the raid buff across the board was just like an overall conclusion after seeing the statistics across a certain amount of time. So having a more comprehensive one come out all at once just made more sense.
Yeah.
But going forward, it probably will be just like what you were saying, just more precise adjustments, specific suits.
Yeah, so instead of seeing like a full general pass or a full support pass, I could see like maybe this
Yeah,
suit
just picking at
has
both.
garbage win rate. Here's a buff to this one. Or like, at 200 cost we have this, at 300 cost we have this, and they might just do it in a wave of different costs. And they might, you might have a 200 suit, a 350 suit, a 400 suit, whatever it is, and then they just bring those like 3 or 4 suits up and not do a type by type pass kind of thing. That's what I kind of see. But is that what you were kind of asking, Emblem?
I'm not sure. I kind of thought y'all were starting talking about something else, honestly.
I mean, still on the same kind of like, I do think they're gonna do like some buffs to other stuff, but yeah, like if they just kind of went and started buffing generals, then you'd be back in the same spot where you were, though. That's what you were kind of
Right.
getting at. Yeah. So
I think
But,
going forward, they might end up in the same spot that they were, regardless, considering whatever suits that we actually get released at those costs.
pretty much, you can see that
So
happen.
this is a good one for now. We'll see what else needs to be done going forward after we get some more suits in there.
Yep.
This game is going to be changing a lot more, just
yeah.
because of the range of suits that we're going to be getting. Especially once we start getting deeper into Zeta and just newer suits in general.
So let's see. What else? What else do we got? Oh yeah, that's what I was asking. So what do you guys think about the Zagaki and the level 3 and the G line light level 2 for the ticket shop? Would you recommend?
It's good. I'd probably say the G line light myself.
Yeah. The
Mhm.
Zagaki is kind of a cool thing, but yeah, if you were tight on tickets, I probably would save. And
Yeah,
if
light
you,
armor's just more consistent.
yeah,
Zagaki definitely. Well, it already had those adjustments a little while back, and people have been putting in work with them. But if you're looking for something a bit more reliable, the light armor for sure.
still has its short range grab claws
Mhm.
for swings. I'm just like, oh man. But I always end up swinging short.
That's the nature of the suit, though. Kind of a bummer. The rush down with the missiles is nice. The beams
Oh,
aren't as
yeah.
bad as they used to be.
Again, I just hate how you'll be like beam. Oh, I'm gonna switch,
Yeah.
and then you'll miss like 2 beams because just decided, oh, I'm gonna use my left hand instead of my right. Like great. Other than that, the DP store got the Pixie level 3, pretty cool, and the Dom High Speed experimental type. There we go. Level 1.
Yep. There was another one that was on the list, wasn't there?
Yes, it's not on the patch notes, but it is
But
the
it's on the thing.
Zaku Heavy Arms, level 2,
Yeah.
I believe.
Yep.
Can recommend that suit. Heavy Arms is a ton of fun to play. Definitely, probably best to use the Magella, in my opinion, on that. But you can use pretty much any of the weapons that it can use, and still do really well. But I'd say the Magella is the skill cap on that, and that is the prototype, so it doesn't hard stagger. It's just a normal stagger, but still, they up the rate that you can fire it, so its ready up time is a lot faster. You can switch and then do your missiles pretty much right after you hit something. Got a grenade, which is nice. Yeah, it's pretty solid. Like if you get really good with weapon swapping and doing stuff, really good suit.
Side note: the level 2 Alex is also back in the ticket shop, and I'm really mad that I can't get it.
Ooh.
I want it so bad, you guys.
Ouch. But yeah, Dom high speed. I mean, again, this is the DP store, so it's pretty cool that they're in there. Dom high speed is just a lot of fun. But what do you think about the? I don't know if you've played it yet, Emblem. What do you think about the Pixie level 3? You recommend the DP store buy? Because I know we're getting pretty high
The
cost now.
the changes for it are pretty nice, at the very least. The 10 extra thrust is good. It'll be interesting to see. I think the extra boost will definitely help it out. I just kind of wonder how relevant it'll make it.
Yeah. So we'll get into that discussion when we get into the notes. But figure go ahead and ask here since possible buy situation.
Yeah. I'm ready to get it. Like, it's the only suit that I have in the DP shop to actually get. Baseline Thruster's 55 now. It's got a shit ton of slots for close and medium, so you can put some interesting stuff on there.
Oh, we also got, which is on the side stuff on the thing here, the Gelgu Ground Type BD level 3, so 500 cost for both of these, and the GM Sniper 2 White Dingo.
Yeah, it's true.
I like the White Dingo. I don't know. I still feel like
I like the adjustments to the VD that they did.
yeah, that's pretty nice. But here, let's go ahead and skip ahead real quick. What were they? The leg
It's
buffer.
yeah.
Okay.
Thruster increased to 50 from 55 to 60. Level 2 unit skill special leg buffer. It's also something that we should note is that there's an extra skill that's been being added to some of these suits, called thruster output increase. So just baseline thruster speed being increased is a thing as a skill now.
Yep. When you're doing thruster speed, it gets by 5 at level 1 and 10 at level. Yeah. Well, here, let's do we want to talk about the coming soon thing first, or do we want to get into the note?
Well, you're a master of ceremonies, so
Coming soon.
Okay,
A
let's.
thing that involves the Psycho
Yeah. So
Gundam.
so speculation time, guys. Here we go. All speculation right here. Disclaimer: we are just guessing at what this could mean, but what I've been hearing and what I think, I really want to see PvE mode with this thing. Just saying.
That's what it looks like. It's either that or it's a hero unit situation.
it's kind of more of what I hope for. I think the easy and more likely scenario is PvE, but I'd prefer for it to be a situation where I get to play to suit.
That would be
Like
kind
you
of
just
cool.
start clapping cheeks in a match, and then you can just, like the next time you die, get in it. Like fuck all y'all.
That would be kind of legit. The other thing, and I mean, this kind of, I guess, would be the speculation to the, what the, because they canceled the event where they were going to show off the new game mode, right?
Right.
So I feel like this is their response, like, hey guys, we were going to show off a game mode that might involve this. So I'm like, okay, either PvE, what you said for a hero thing, or one thing, I can't remember who said this, but someone in chat said, what if it's a 1v6 sort of thing, or 1v5, where you're playing as the Psycho and you're up against
A bunch
a
of
bunch
other
of
people.
players, yeah. So you do it like a 1v6 kind of thing.
I know.
I've heard that too.
Late in the verses, they had something like that where you could be like the Big Zam or like other mobile armors. Like at first it was just an AI, and then they're like, oh no, players can fuck around with it too. So that'd be interesting if they implemented that in here.
I mean, the biggest problem that I have with the PvE mode right now is their AI that they currently have is
Super stupid.
Potato.
yeah. So either they've been making breakthroughs in their ability to make their AI awesome, or it's going to be another PvP thing where it's either super unit or 1v6. That's
Now,
kind of my theory right now.
to be fair, this kind of suit actually seems to fit that AI pretty well because it's big. It'll have a pretty solid vantage point on most people, all the different directional beams it can fire. And if there's anything that this AI is good at, it's about, being pretty precise, more so than your typical player. Not to mention the timing that it has on its tackles. So anything that gets near this thing is going to get swiped at or just shot to death. Aoshi puts it best, being cheap, you mean. So being in a busted ass mobile armor might actually work out pretty well without them having to make too many adjustments. Normal suits, yeah, it's still kind of stupid. But with something with that much power, it might be interesting.
Here's a thought too as well, and I don't know if this is exactly where this comment was going, but new map and the Psycho attacks everyone. So what if it's like a think
hazard?
about the
So kinda like,
shuttle in the middle where it has its own health bar and it's attacking everybody, and you could get hit. And then what if the team who kills it gets a big like score bonus or something? Like you
That'd
could
be
work
just like
together.
Battle Operation Next, by the way.
Oh really?
I don't know if that falls into a caveat of game mode. It's not like anything in any battle operation style game. But that's exactly how mobile armor encounters worked in Next. Maybe with some differences.
Maybe that's why they're bringing it over. Unless they're actually going to start throwing down stuff for next, dude. Like, hey, if you guys missed this in next, then guess what? We got it in here.
They count next as part of the.
It is a battle op game.
Technically, yeah. So, well, that would be kind of awkward if that's their new game mode. Then
it'd be a little disheartening to people who are actually hoping, because it might mean that they're just gonna like put the brakes on that for a little bit. It's like, hey, but you got the same modes. It's okay. It's like, nah, not really. Yeah, that's another possibility, though. I can see that.
But yeah, that's about all the ideas I got. Anybody else got anything?
No, I mean, those cover a pretty good range of possibilities for what this could be. And it says that At least for the announcement on the English side is saying that we're till spring, so
Mhm.
we got some time. They might do some more coverage about it later.
But I think it'd be very interesting. And I mean, in that regard too, just like to kind of follow up more. So just on the different styles of what the game could be, do you guys think like so? Let's just look at it as a PVE type of experience. Do you think they'll have mobile suits limited by particular factions during the PVE combat?
That'd be kind of cool.
It's a possibility. Just to make more sense with what kind of suits it would attack.
And then they just change it into like a mix-up kind of cost thing, maybe. That way everybody can get in.
I mean, I personally hope they don't do that, but it's just like what ifs with the
Yeah.
different things. How themed? If they want to be like a situation battle, I'd prefer to play any mobile suit I want. But that's like things to kind of think about.
Well, I
It would
mean,
also
then,
be
like,
interesting
if
if
it's
we
a
got
brand new-
another map that
Mhm.
that catered to its size.
well, that's
Like if we got
But actually, I was gonna
city
say
map,
something
kind of
that
like
too,
where
yeah.
the encounter in the show, like that'd be neat.
Mhm.
I'd be down for that. I mean, there's other places that it could do. Like port base wouldn't be too bad, and it's kind of small, but if you got rid of the shuttle in the center, Arctic wouldn't be that bad for it either.
yeah.
But
that'd
I
be
think
kinda
they'd probably
interesting.
do their own map for it.
Well, that's what Mia was saying, and we also got a in between topic here. So, but we got HOV flying, destructible shuttle, the new ice map. Why not an
Mhm.
enemy hazard? I mean, yeah, makes sense. Be kind of cool to
It's
get a new map at
true.
the same time.
Hang on, say it again.
As far as just the new game mode is just also on a new map.
Oh, I sorry. I thought you were. What you were just saying was the little like requested topic.
Oh, sorry. The requested topic. We also which we can hit that here in a second when we finish the coming soon thing. But
Okay.
but yeah, I mean, anything else on the coming soon? Any other ideas?
Right now I'm good. Hopefully this leads up to other stuff. We're all crying in Big Zam right now, after all.
Oh God, could you imagine? That could be the space equivalent. I'd be down for that.
That would be awesome. That'd be legit.
Because at least the first Psycho Gundam did make it into space. That shit got destroyed before they actually took off back into space for stuff.
Yeah.
The 2, however, could be another possibility.
Once the big Zam is mass produced.
But yeah, I hope if they do keep going with stuff like that, I hope they do the Big Zam.
Oh yeah. That would be awesome though. I mean, I'll take it either way. Like if we get to play it, or if they, what if it starts out as PVE? As long as we can get to play it sometime down the road, like that would be cool. Either way, I kind of want both. I really, my thing is though, is I really want to see the PVE stuff because I know a lot of people who would love just doing some PVE things instead of getting in that salt mine of rated and quick match. So it'd be kind of cool to see some extra PVE stuff come in just for people to YOLO and have some fun with.
Oh yeah, multiplayer isn't for everybody.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, like I think we were talking about this probably the past 2 times. I think it keeps getting brought up, but if they would just use this engine on a single player game, I'm in. Like that would be awesome. Like I think that would be fantastic. But yeah, anything else, guys?
I wouldn't mind if they did like co-op scenarios, had like a whole campaign for that, or like make it so you can actually solo them as well.
That'd be kind of cool.
Situational battles in that respect would be pretty nice. That'd be a good way to like flesh out this game to actually have a single player like aspect to it, as well as co-op.
PVE tokens? Or at least 1 token a day from PVE stuff? Yes, please.
Yeah,
That'd be
they
cool.
gotta incentivize it.
Oh yeah. That'd be awesome. But anyway, so yeah, flight types and how they're changing the meta. So that's the pick the in between topic. So
How about them flight types?
yeah,
Ain't it a bitch? The thing we were so excited for has been such a pain in the ass.
I have both of them and I am loving it. Ba, ba, ba,
Still
ba,
only
ba.
had the I still only had the test I really want. The full on. That shit looks amazing.
So the test at 350 is just gross because everything you have there. Trying to think, anything? Is there anything that's really good at taking it out of the sky at 350?
350.
350.
If it's low enough to get freed, Zuda has the anti-ship rifle.
Anything with the
Legoshi has the
anti-ship.
hammer gun.
Or like heavy stagger
Okay,
options.
desert, yeah. I don't know. I feel like
It's still tough. Like
those
it
are
can
very
take a lot.
specific picks that you don't see too often, though. You get what I'm saying? Like, I wonder if it's just it hasn't hit the 350 meta yet. Like, I feel like that suit could cause a meta shift at 350, but we just haven't seen it.
Yeah, to be honest, I've been seeing it more so at like higher cost than I have 350.
Yeah, I guess I've played a lot of 350 as of late. I've been gravitating more towards higher cost matches, but I mean, it's interesting. Like, I don't know, it's strange. Like, it is annoying to go up against a flight type, but like, do I think it's inherently broken? Like, no. It is one of those things where like I don't think a team comp is in a bad spot for having something that can answer the flight type.
But
Of
you
any
have to have them
regard.
answer it.
Yeah.
I
Because
think
I mean,
that's
if you don't have any good answers, it's just gonna get free damage or whatever.
well, a lot of times I've got the 400 test type, and I like my
Mhm.
barrage. So I shoot a lot of missiles, machine gun, bazooka, and every now and then get close enough to the ground to downswing,
Mhm.
which is kind of weird. It does this little like you get close enough to the ground, and then when you go to downswing, it goes back, and I'm just like the whole like back tackle is just kind of weird. I think the Zaku cannon kind of does it, but there's not a you're not in the air, so you don't do as much of the whoosh then forward. But
Floaty,
yeah,
floaty boys.
but overall though, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go into an ace match, 400 cost. I want to do the Dom Barrage. Oops, we got 5 supports. Let's all do a support comp. I raise my hand, intensify that barrage. And then people start swapping to generals and raids, and I'm like, okay, I'm sad face. Then one guy readies up for the support slot, and I'm like, fine. I've got a lot of suits at 400. I'll do something else. I see the test type. I'm like, okay. I just won't become the ace because I don't want to be everybody playing duck hunt at that point.
Oh
Because at
god,
that
yeah.
point, they will focus you. And somehow, every time, I typically have the highest damage, and I'm almost always the ace. And I'm just like, crap.
Because at any angle, as long as you're maintaining your thrust, you're just gonna be there to do damage.
Oh yeah, like you just smashing out those damage numbers.
Like that's the problem with that suit, especially in ace matches, because they're hard to escape. And I think it's not that the suit is busted. I think we're on the money about that. It's just the behavior that it elicits from people because it's this thing in the sky that they can't immediately unga bunga. So they all look up and keep trying to swat it out of the air. But meanwhile, the rest of its team are just rushing in and clapping your cheeks while you're looking up. So
Right.
having something that
Yeah.
answers it is important, and it's even more important that they're constantly on it because otherwise the rest of the team is going to try to pick up the slack and not do as good of a job as you.
I think a really good example is, you know how like sometimes in trading card games, you'll in like a tournament scene, you'll hear about like, oh, this off the wall new deck just like demolished everybody.
Mhm.
And it's not that like the deck itself is some unknown, like unseen concept or whatever that just wasn't seen. It could be, but you know, usually what it is the people that made it understand the meta of
Oh
what's
yeah.
going on.
Mhm.
And the thing that they did plays around the meta, and because it's like something that people don't usually see, they just aren't prepared for it.
Yeah.
I think the
And
name of those decks typically are counter and then whatever you're doing with it. So like for me, I do like when I played Yu-Gi-Oh, for instance, I would always do counter beatdown. I'm a beatdown guy.
right,
I like ramp and magic. Like any of that stuff. So I play counter meta, and then typically whatever the equivalent of beatdown is what I do most of the time. So yeah, that kind of deal. And yeah, exactly, pretty much.
but yeah, because there's nothing wrong with the deck and there's nothing wrong with the suit. It's just like when you bring in something that is not like bad in its own right, and the enemy team isn't prepared for it. It's just it's gonna feel broken, or or if you're in the case of like maybe you're one of those greasy support mains, and you're getting
Disgusting.
barreled down by the superior master race raid player and their awesome goof flight type.
Oof.
It,
Which
it,
is
it can
exactly
feel
what's going on in chat right now. The discussion about that exactly is what's going on right now.
Fuck these filthy supports.
But I'm like, well, no, it's the supports
This is the
banding
other way
together
around.
right now, being like,
Fuck
the
these
fly
filthy
type
raids.
is, oh my gosh. But no, for real though, I'm kind of there with
So
that.
gross.
Like you pretty much have to play a support, like around that cost. My answer to it is you need a flight type on your team, something flying, at least one on your team, and then it kind of balances things out a little bit. But I still feel like I need to pick some kind of support that can deal with it. So at 400 and 450, GM Cannon 2, Dom Barrage. Actually, one really cool thing, you can knock them out of the air unless the flight type is actually even, because it's more resistant. I know the test flight type, you can knock it out of the air with a gun tank if you hit with both of the cannons. Like
Mhm.
it's like, where it hits with both, those are actually enough to stagger them out of the air. So you can one-shot a flight test type out of the air with a gun tank.
It's
So
also just general
go Koraz.
suppression. Never mind even so much about like getting them out of the air, but if you pressure them enough with constant damage, it's all about just making sure that they don't have the superior position. Or like
much.
even if they do, they're too pressured to really do like top damage. They just really have to be bullied, is what we're saying.
But yeah, I
'Cause
kind
I
of
feel like in a lot of situations, and I bring it up because a lot of people, when they see it, is like, well, I can't get to it. I can't do anything substantial right away, so I might as well leave it alone. It'll come down eventually, and the problem is that, especially with the test type, because it did get buffs, and the regular flight type just kind of came out this way, they can stay in the air for a long time. And the different places that they can perch in the meantime give them plenty of time to get that back up and back in the air. So it's not quite as damning for them to have to like land somewhere as it used to be.
Yeah, they're definitely smarter now. I agree. And I think a lot of it comes down to like, just for instance, the person that put the question up, if you think the flight type is inherently broken, or if it's giving you problems, then pick a suit and whatever type you play that can answer the suit. And I mean that'll kind of fix your problem. Like if the supports you normally play are having issues with that mobile suit, then you need to change what you're doing. Because the flight type's not going anywhere.
But that's what I was saying. Like
And we're
now,
gonna
I
get a
pretty much,
whole different version of flying probably soon.
yeah, that's going to be interesting. Which I do kind of want to point out something about that. We're kind of on the topic, but I mean, pretty much what you said, Emblem. Like I said, GM Cannon 2 is really good. You can use that just normal gun, the GM rifle, right after you shoot it with the beams. The beams are pretty much aim and shoot. You'll hit it. It gets a lot of stagger up, and then you just have to put a few bullets of the rifle in before they get to you, and they're going down. And plus, your GM Cannon 2, you are thick. You have a shield. You are a tank. So if they get to you, you still have some kind of fighting chance. Other than that, Dom Barrage still does well against it. Just don't miss. I mean, that's more of a bit more of a get good situation, but you can barrage
Yeah.
them. Like you can decimate their legs. The legs on those suits, unless they're actually using leg armor, are paper thin.
Do they have buffers? Do they have built-in buffers?
Don't think they do. Like I can just take out, like if I see the test type, I can take it out with one barrage.
But
Like,
that's the other thing too. Like you're right about that. Like if you can do damage to them, make it so that when they do have to land, they're fucking miserable and their legs are just fucked up.
pretty much. The other thing is though is when they go back into flight mode, they can just move at full speed. No big deal.
But that's just a given because they
Yeah.
can just get back into the air so fast anyway.
But again though, now they don't have iframes for 5 seconds or whatever to get up in the air and away from you. So now as soon as they go into flight mode, you just boom, get back down. Get down on that ground.
I have seen people do this really hard like vertical like lift. Like they just shoot up after they take off.
Oh yeah. Well, one reason being is if you're still hovering next to the ground and you're in flight mode,
Mhm.
for some reason, I don't exactly understand the mechanic, but I mean, I kind of do, obviously, what I'm saying here, but it just doesn't make any sense. Like, once you're in flight mode, you should be considered flight mode. But if you're right next to the ground, I can hit them with a beam, and they'll get staggered by a normal beam hit. So you have to be so far off the ground before you're, like...
Yeah, I think it's so that
Super
they don't
maneuver
get
armor.
hard, so that they don't get hard knocked down
Yeah.
when they're too low to the ground. Because that's something that they did for suits in general when they're like falling.
Yeah, yeah, that's
And
true.
I think they just applied that to that suit, and it's useful, but it's also fucky because if you're also close to the ground, there's a good chance that you'll disengage when you're trying to actually like just like jump and hover.
Yeah. Well, and then when I see them do that, I'm just like, beam, more missiles, goodbye, smack, you know, whatever. Bully the raid, pretty much at that point.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, pretty much what you said though, Emblem. Like, pick. I'm trying to think of other suits. The Mudrock's pretty good at 450, for it. It can brawl. Like I said, the tanks. Again, I know Corraz likes tanks, so I don't know if he's tried doing much tank stuff with it. But as soon as I don't know if the fly type has more maneuver armor, so it actually doesn't get hit out of the air. But I do know the test type. So if you're playing around 350 or 400 and you see a test type, boom, it's out of the air. Just one shot it with the cannons.
Ashy's over here like I need to bully the supports more.
I agree.
No,
We
Alshi,
should always
why?
bully supports.
Alshi, come on, man. Gonna
Bully them more.
don't make me. Don't.
What are you gonna do?
I mean, we might have a hunting accident in Tarkov tomorrow.
Oh no!
All right, Dick Cheney.
Ooh.
I was trying to keep a straight face there. And then Emblem, it's like, all right, Dick Cheney. You know,
Yeah, that's
like,
the throwback, baby. Throwback Thursdays. Let's go.
Okay, sorry, just to kind of bring up, didn't like the guy who got shot apologize to him? Sorry, I was in the way, sir. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like what? Oh my gosh.
I wish some of these melee heavy shoots would apologize to me when they get them for my shots.
I know, right? For real.
Excuse me, Mr. Support. I'm sorry for jumping in front of you. It's like,
Yeah. I mean, that's where
Mr.
my joke.
Support.
That's where my joke was going. So well played, Gustav. You stole my punchline, but there you go. That's exactly where I was going with that. For real, though.
Apologize.
Sorry, Mr. Support. Ugh. So here's another thing too. I know we were doing that in the like unrestricted yesterday. I was playing the flight type, and Corey just mentioned the Zommel. Like I feel like 500 and up though, there's so many answers for the flight type that it's not as big of a deal. There's so many things they can just be like, oh, here's a few missiles, boom, you're out of the air. If you're playing 550.
Zommel's an anti-air platform.
Well,
He's
yeah,
an asshole.
but then you got like the MLRS or the GBO2. Just normally, you're just like, oh, I can just Gatling you with my Vulcans, and you're out of the sky in 3 seconds. You know, there's so many answers to it once you get to the higher cost. But 450, unless somebody's picking something, you know, I mean,
Pale
you've got, like,
Rider's
the
still a
Zuda
good
F,
choice.
Pale
You whip out
Rider,
the big, you whip out the big iron, you're gonna smack a whole out of the sky. But like,
But I think the problem with where the fly type is at 450, there's a lot of beam to melee meta, and still, if you prefer a bazooka to melee meta. And that was
Yeah.
something that I think Mia, who requested the topic,
Y'all got to get better.
actually,
Stop doing this blue Zuka shit. You're just gonna get picked up by flight types all day.
yeah. So like, there's definitely pretty much kind of what Emblem was saying. This is kind of like a counter to that meta, and that's what a lot of people
Yeah.
go to for their first thing. And I mean, it's going to take people practicing and getting out of their comfort zone to actually
And not
deal with it.
ignoring those suits when they show up.
Yep. And finding an easy way to kind of like, hey, we can group Vulcan this thing, and it's down in 2 seconds. Like, that's all you have to do is just turn and group fire at it for like a second, and
Yeah,
it's a free
just make
kill,
them clench in general.
pretty much.
Like make them regret flying.
Oh, also, I've got like 92 thruster on that thing. I can just fly for days on the level 2. Oh, it was so good. I'm liking my utility version of it because it just has damage. So, yeah, good suit though.
Yeah, and I'm glad. At the same time, we have to remember how much of a hard time it had right out of the gate after its honeymoon period was over. Yeah, like it was getting clapped 5 ways a Sunday anytime it tried to like someone just take off the ground a couple inches. Now it's actually pretty dominant, and in certain maps it's necessary. So
Oh yeah,
it's a far departure from what it used to be, and it's actually a good thing for the suit itself, even if a lot of people are having a hard time with it.
but oh no, flight stealth type. Ugh, I don't even want to
Oh
imagine
hell
that.
yeah!
That's pretty much. You know what that is? That is a stupid
What are those
try to
big
remember the
ones?
actual name. Scope dog.
Scope dog, or like one of those big dumb
Flipper.
radar
There we go.
suits.
I was gonna say the flipper in space. That's what a stealth flight type is, because then you can't see anybody else because it's somewhere next to you, so you don't know where it is. So at that point, it's true stealth because like it could come from any direction around you in space, and then you're just like, oh gosh, I can't see any health bars. So now the entire enemy team is stealth at that point, and then you're just like, who's friend and foe? Oh, oops, I just shot a teammate. My bad.
People are trying to do that in with the Pixie and the Noct. I'm starting to notice we're getting these double raid teams lately. And that's interesting. I'd also say if you're too effective at it, you don't want to do it in ace matches because one of you is going to be the ace, and it's going to ruin the entire setup.
Yeah.
We had a match like that today, and it was a little rough.
Yeah, that can get a little awkward. But yeah. I do think that the fly type has its place right now in the meta, but until we have like a set of counters that people are getting used to playing, I think right now it's just going to feel like this really powerhouse of a suit. And either you're going to have a team. I mean, it's kind of one of those things. You get a team that works together, and you just decimate the enemy team. You get a team that doesn't work together, and that's kind of the thing. The flight types, if you specifically the flight type by itself, definitely needs teamwork to take that thing down. Otherwise, it's just going to get to the support, like hit him with the Sturmfaust or Gatling them, then hit him with the Sturmfaust or whatever, because it can just like
Yeah, like
do
it's
whatever
hard to
maneuver it
one.
needs.
I think that's the bigger thing with it in the current meta too. It's hard to 1v1.
Oh yeah, like unless you can offer help and knock it out of the air, that's about the only thing I've been able to do. That's why half the time I'm tempted to use the GM Cannon 2 over a lot of other things, just because it's so tanky and you've got an easy way to get it out of the sky. Again, I haven't really tried the gun tank thing on the flight type, but if I know there's one on the enemy team,
I feel kind of
gonna
bad
try
for
it.
the gun cannon 2 people. Still trying to make that shit work.
Oh yeah.
Because that's not a hard stagger, it's just raw damage.
Yep. And there's no way to, the second beam won't stagger them out of the air too. So you literally have it has Vulcans, right?
Yeah, it has
So-
Vulcans, it has grenades. It has raw output at least. Like it's hitting for bread if it hits it, but it's gonna be tough. It needs to be suppressed for it to actually like
Yeah,
do
you'd
its
have
thing.
to do what? The big beam, its other beam, and then Vulcan. for like half of it probably before you get a stagger. That's actually kind of that's pretty rip. But yeah, kind of. I mean, any other thoughts on the flight types? I mean, as far as like the meta, I kind of just summarized what I was thinking, but
They're booty, but they're fun.
they are fun to play.
I don't think they're booty. They're definitely fun to play. Especially the regular flight type. It is I think it's the opposite of booty. I think it is a very good suit.
Oh,
It's booty because it's fun.
Gotcha.
fair
But yeah,
enough.
I definitely want that suit.
I will say it's
still
top
need
tier.
At least one level of that fucking thing.
Right now, in my opinion, at any cost where you can get a flight type, you need a one flight type on your team. I really think right now, I think that's how the meta should be.
Corez is proposing horrifying things. How long until we have a flyer with a heavy stagger?
Yeah, that's what yeah. I'm reading that now. Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no. I need to just get that. I need to get that sound bite.
Just put it as a
Since I
clip
say
on
it,
your
since I
stream.
say it so much, I just need to do. Oh no. Oh, but anyway, so what? Oh yeah, I was gonna. Man, I'm so tired still. It's been like 38 hours or something now. We're getting there. I don't know. I'm just saying a number. I know it's definitely over 30, but anyway, other flying stuff though when we get into the Zeta suits. Now what I'm afraid of, if we see a, like, say for instance the what is it called? The suit that you want
Kaplan?
as a raid that transforms.
Oh, the Methus?
Methus, thank you. If we see the Methus and it can't transform, or some other suits that can't transform, that's going to be a bad sign. If we get any suit that can transform and that they don't have it in, I'm hoping it's a thing that they'll add later as an extra bonus, right? But if we do get one and it doesn't have the transform option in the game, then I'm going to be kind of sad and kind of scared. Because I would like to see the transform mechanic be a thing. But with that said, do you guys think with how fast it's going to make some suits and stuff, that we would need to maybe up it to 600 cost before we even get that? Or do you think it could fit in the meta just fine, and we just, kind of like the flight type, how it's mixing it up a little bit right now, will this new flight mechanic just mix it up and it'll be fine, just having one on each team kind of thing?
It's one of those things where it's just like we've introduced enough suits from like higher end stuff in Zeta that they'd have to make it really powerful and stand out if they did it at higher costs. I think that they'll definitely bump that up in level, but I think we'd probably be looking at like relatively lower, depending on what else it is they're able to do, just for those flight suits in general.
Well, here's an example too. What I was just thinking. What was the one that we talked about where it doesn't have the Marsai, like its special beam thing, only it's a souped up version of it. And it's
the Fayadine. That's the rifle, but what's the other suit that has the rifle?
Hang on. No, I'm talking about the
Hammurabi?
maybe it's the Hammurabi. No, the Hammurabi would be more of a general type. What's the orange one? Oh wait, what's the orange one?
Hammurabi sounds like it'd be more of a raid.
The orange one though. Okay, maybe raid.
The orange, that's the Ashimar.
Ashimar, there we go. That's the one.
It has its own rifle.
It has its own rifle, yeah. But while we were kind of talking about it, it might just be a support that you can snipe, move, sit down, snipe, move.
Just like big yeets, big
and then like
yeets.
Go flight type coming in. If it's say 450 or 400 cost, flight type coming in, you're just like yeet, see ya, and you just fly away. Or
I can see that.
Zoidberg out of there. So
I do kind of want them to have like a really substantial like takeoff.
Yeah, that would be really cool just to see
they
have like
out,
an awesome,
they just like shoot up into the sky.
Straight iframes for that. That might be, I don't know, like an exam mode essentially,
like the exam mode for it is actually just as into the sky, and then you gotta.
And then now you fly around and then you land, and
Which
that's
is
what you
which
can
would
do
be
for like
nice
a
because
minute.
it means you could be like you'd have to be mindful of where you take off. Like there's no transforming and then just like shooting forward. You'd have to actually get some, like air under you before you could actually do the regular flight stuff.
Be kind of interesting. But yeah, without getting too much into the just speculation of how the flight's gonna work, yeah, I mean, do you think the cost range at around 400? Do you think that would be fine to have like some things that have that much maneuverability just suddenly in? And if it's used as an escape mechanic, I think it's probably fine. If it's
Yeah.
used as a mode that you fly around and shoot at things, I don't
I
know.
would assume it'd probably be both.
At
I don't know
some
how they're
point,
actually gonna.
but
I don't know how they're actually gonna do that. I feel like they'd have to do some adjustments to some of the maps too, just so that it has enough airspace to like really utilize it if you can actually fly around.
I really don't see it being that fast to where you couldn't like, kind of do one of these maneuvers and kind of, I don't know, like over a mountain, for instance. Like you could go easily fly up over the little mountain, come down, do like a strafing run on somebody, go around
Yeah.
the whatever, and like any of the stuff. Once you're at a certain height, you can just go over all the mountains. They pretty much need to take away the invisible wall for any of the stuff that you couldn't fly over, I think.
It'll be interesting because like if it's not fast enough, I feel like it's just gonna be like
A
the
weird flight type.
Hidalfer or the assault tank in terms of like they're just not fast enough to get away from shit anymore. Like
Yeah.
they're getting suppressed and like clapped by range all the time because people aren't afraid to shoot at them like they used to be. So it also depends on how resistant they are to like stuns or getting knocked out of the sky. Or are they going to have to rely on their speed to keep that from happening? Since it's not just, oh, you got smacked and you fall on your back. It's like, no, you're also transformed now. So you'd have to actually either get out of that mid-fall or something else. Like you would just be like stunned longer on the ground if they actually knock you down. So yeah, there's a lot of speculation on how it's going to work. I feel like they're going to take their time with that before it actually really gets in there. And maybe, depending on how long it takes, we will have some of those other cost ranges, so they might punch up a little bit higher with them.
I mean, I'm just kind of thinking about it. I think it's just going to be one of those things like how the flight test type, the flight type just kind of was like, hey, we're here. You got to deal with it.
Yeah.
And I think people can adjust. It's just going to be really weird, and it's going to be one of those things when it first comes out, everybody's going to want to play it, and it might make things really
And
weird. But after a couple
I think
of weeks,
they learned from the flight test type that they can't make it too underwhelming.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're gonna lowball those suits when they come out.
Probably not. That's probably going to be a big deal. So, really interested in seeing how fast they can go. I'm guessing like maybe 200, 250 speed, somewhere around there. Might be a little high for 250.
That'd be crazy. I want to see what that's
200.
like though.
Well, I mean the Hidalfer and stuff is like what 170, so that's what I'm saying.
Mhm.
It has to be somewhere around 200. I think that would be about right. You could still control it. The only thing is then now they got to put in. Are you flying a plane normally? Are you doing inverse controls, or are you doing not?
Are you doing like VTOL?
Yeah, like everybody, like I know everybody has their own way that they like to fly planes. So I hope they put in some control adjustments if you're gonna.
I wouldn't mind
do a
if it
flight
was
mode.
a little more like War Thunder or like Star Fox-ish with how they do it.
Yeah, so
That'd be interesting to see. But that's all a big maybe in
yeah, this is
speculation
huge
in terms of-
speculation, but I think again though, I think it's fine that they add if they say even added it like 400 cost. I think the meta would just adjust and people would get used to it at some point. It's kind of my thought process. But that was one thing. I'm kind of curious is what you guys think. So do you think that would be fine if they just added like a bunch of suddenly flying suits at 400?
There's not a lot of them to begin with.
Yeah.
I mean, the bigger thing is that a lot of them are transforming, and the question is going to be how many of them are going to be adapted for the ground, or are a fuck ton of them just going to be for space? In which case, they just be in space but faster, like transformed. They just have a different set of weapons to utilize.
Yeah, that was the other question in chat. Is
not to
it'd be
mention
interesting to see how they
Zeta
work
is
in
going to
space.
be a transforming suit too, and I'd assume it'd be able to go on space and ground.
Oh yeah. And in space, I wonder if they have even a little bit faster speed boost, or if it's just going to be the same. And in space, it should just work fine. Like in space, you pretty much could just fly any direction you wanted.
Right.
So, again, the biggest concern I think I've seen when people talk about the speed thing is like, well, people can easily go and plant bombs. My argument to that is
You still
I
have to
can
get out of the suit, and you're gonna
I
get
can
clapped.
I can boost over and plant a bomb anyway in like 30 seconds. So being able to go do it in 10 seconds is fine, but I mean, if you whoosh fly through the middle of the map to get there in, like 2 seconds, it's like, oh, everybody sees this guy.
And they're all gonna turn around because they're
Yeah.
not gonna be as far away.
I could be very far away. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that's
Yeah.
I
the
don't think they'd be doing it at the beginning.
Don't
right?
jump the gun.
well,
Don't be
yeah,
dumb.
they wouldn't be doing it. Yeah, I mean, I'm even talking about like, at 3 minutes, right, when you want to go plant the bomb.
Mhm.
If you're in any other suit, you can just go around the sides or whatever and get there within
Yeah.
a pretty
I mean, I
reasonable
would assume at like later on in the match it might not be too bad just because they're gonna be embroiled in either pushing or like dealing with people, in mid. Especially if they're also trying to plant. But yeah, in the beginning, just don't. I don't care how fast you are, just don't do it.
pretty much. But yeah, cool. That's pretty much all I have on that one. You guys got anything else?
Good.
Okay, so let's go ahead and hop into these big list of changes and stuff. We kind of already talked about the Gelgu ground type BD, so we'll kind of just skip that one, but got a nice little buff. Feels good. The leg buffer is just always really good on any kind of Gelgu. So
Dummy thick ass suit on Sprez didn't have it before.
pretty much. Actually, a lot of the Ace Gelgugs don't have it. I'm pretty sure the BG and the Human Lightning don't have it either.
The VG from like a physical standpoint kind of makes sense just because it's got those exposed leg bits anyway. So it's like a buffer where?
Yeah, pretty much touche.
It'd have to just be more video gamey. Like it's just getting leg too much in matches before they change it, I would assume.
So we kind of pointed this out, but the Mark II had a nerf, so 5% at base level 1, and I'm guessing it's 5% at all levels. Honestly,
Yeah, I believe it's a straight
I
adjustment.
think it needs more of a nerf. I mean, it does a lot of melee damage, but I don't know. Maybe
I mean, the
I'm
bigger thing
biased
is that
against it.
like everything else about the suit, how fast and responsive it is, how quick it is to get to certain situations. When its beam is still doing decent output and stun anyway, so like not changing it too much. Its role is still there.
Yeah, instead of hitting
It's just
4,000.
it's just not as punishing when it's catching people as it
Yeah.
was before.
Besides, it's still a hot ticket, our token item. You gotta keep.
Once it hits
piece
the
of
RT
cake
shop, we
top
might
people
see
to vote
something happen.
Then we can
Oh,
make some
man.
drastic nerfs, okay?
Oh my gosh, the infamous RT shop nerf. Oh,
You gotta wait for
Read.
the RT shot. And RT, even doing it in the RT shop's a little bold, right? Because you want people to spend more and be like, glad I had these extra recycle tickets.
yeah. Then you get the
You know,
BD2.
You gotta wait for the DP shot then. It's like, you guys can just get this eventually for free? Fuck you then.
Pretty much. I'm trying to remember. Was it the BD2? Yeah, that was the whole exam nerfs when they put they did all the exam nerfs and they put them in the DP store. I remember that now.
Yeah, now you guys can all have it, so fuck it.
Pretty much.
Ain't nothing special about these guys no more.
Kind of surprised at this one. I'm guessing this is more towards space a little bit, but the Rick Diaz got a range nerf too.
Those pistols hurt, man.
Everything about that suit hurts.
I mean,
that bazooka fucking collapsed cheeks.
Vulcans are crazy. Yeah, I love doing ranged. I just got the shrapnel bazooka for it. I really want to get that suit and use the shrapnel with it. I am a fan.
I think we just forgot about it after a while. Focus on the Mark II and like all this other shit coming out. But whenever that stuff comes around, it can clap a motherfucker real bad.
But it's only 3% nerf is all I got. That's not much.
At least it's percentage wise though, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's just a 3% nerf. That, I mean, again, I still don't think 5% is like a big enough nerf for the Mark II. 3% is just like almost non-existent. Really,
I don't know. It's also one of those things where it's like it still do so despite its speed and maneuverability, it still has to fight against it to actually like do things once it closes in.
Yeah, that's true. But either way, they nerf generals at the 500 cost to kind of help out with the raids. So, the raids. And the first one's the big one, and I've got a slight rant and also a slight yes. I'm conflicted. I don't know whether to be really happy or slightly annoyed because I've actually been doing pretty good recently with the Akai. And first problem, 11,000 HP at 200 cost.
Yeet.
The fuck?
That's pretty crazy.
Okay, real quick. Let's look at the GM Lite. 8,750 health.
Yeah.
It had 250 health more than the Akai. Now it's the lowest health raid. And then you look at the Zaku 1, 10,500 health. Akai has more than that. So now it has the most health. Not only that, they added maneuver armor to it. So now it has maneuver armor. Zaku 1 doesn't have maneuver armor and less health. The GM Lite.
How much does a level 1 Agu guy have?
I'm not
Like
sure. I mean, the other bigger thing
15
about the Agu guy
It's
is
like
that it
15,
also
but it's also 250 though. Like we're talking 200 cost here for the Ag guy is pretty much my rant. But the Ag guy I think is like 15,000 something.
Oh, it was level 2. I thought the level 2 At guy was 250. Are you?
No, I'm talking about the
off on-
level 1 Ag guy at 200. This is
Okay,
level
I
1.
thought you said something about the level 2 version, so I may have just been off
no.
because of that.
Yeah. So level 1 at 200 cost, it has the most health out of all raids. It has both maneuver armor and a dodge roll. The GM Lite only has maneuver armor. The Zaku 1 doesn't have anything. It has a special head buffer, cool. Thruster got buffed, cool.
they wanted it to be the 200 Agu guy.
So
That's
like,
what it sounds like.
right now, just skills and health, it has way more, and the resist aren't really making a difference. It's not like it has glass cannon resist because every other raid has pretty much glass cannon resist. So it's like now you have movement speed from right and left, so you could just use your head Vulcans now to actually stagger because they buff those. So they reduce the blur, which is the like, what's the word for it?
The blur?
Yeah, the blur. It's the recoil. There we go. So it's pretty much
okay.
reduced recoil and then increased staggering accumulation value. So you can actually stagger pretty easy with the head Vulcans now. The missiles got a higher rate of fire, and then pretty much when you're done shooting missiles, you're moving. It's just like pew 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 pew. Okay, I'm gonna move, and then you're just straight up. It's so easy to missile and then move and get out of the way. So you're not
Feels
locked
good.
into place. The beam still locks you into place, but if you start with the Vulcans, you can get a stagger from a pretty decent range, and then you can just beam, waddle, 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 beam, waddle, 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 smack.
Would you
smack.
say for the missiles it feels more like the barrage now in that case? You just kind of like bars them out and then it's able to move.
I would say it's more like the heavy Gundam.
Okay.
What they did for the heavy Gundam missile change. Oh, the level 2 Akai and the level 1 Agu guy is 13,500 HP at a base value. So they have the same health. It's actually kind of interesting. But so yeah, you have the beam, you have the crazy melee, you have a dodge roll, you have maneuver armor now, you have good Vulcans, you have good missiles if you want to just stand and shoot at somebody, and then if they turned at you, you have enough time to move, or you have enough time to, hey, I got a stagger with the missiles, time to go smack, Or
And you can
follow it up.
smack shit easier now.
Yeah, and then and that's the other thing. Like I was just like, and the guy was like over here, and then he got staggered. I'm like, what? And I was like, I'm gonna downswing. Well, I punched over the guy and still hit him. So So I'm like, dude, I just hit a guy on the ground with my downswing. What is this? So like your hitbox for everything now, you just don't have to worry about what you're hitting pretty much. I haven't
That feels
missed a
good, though.
downswing. I mean, it feels good, but at 200, this is broken. Like, here's my point, and I mean, if somebody disagrees, I would like to hear it, because for me, before, the Akai looked like the best on paper, but it was just really hard to use, and it was just really one combo. You had stealth, you did the 2 beams, and then you did your melee, and typically you killed the support in that combo, but you had to hit
Mhm.
it. Now it's super easy to hit. I mean, the beam's still hard, so there is that part of the skill cap still there, but that's it. Other than that, everything's super easy now, and you have more health and more utility skills than every other raid. I do not see a reason to use the light or the Zaku one unless that's just like your suit. If that is your suit and that's what you're good at, fair enough. I mean, I do the Dom Barrage. I know there's people that say the Dom Barrage sucks, but that is my suit. So if the Zaku
Nobody
one
says
and the
that.
GM light is
People have been saying that for a while. I think a lot of that's just changes, and they can be shitty.
oh, you just cut out like 3 times.
Oh,
A lot of that was just, and then yeah.
I think a lot of people are still considering the barrage from to it.
Oh man.
General.
Lost you again.
I
Although
think
I
I
will
understood
just
at that
say,
time.
like, I was messing around when I said nobody says that. I was just joking.
Oh, I don't know. There are some people that still defend the barrage in general, though. Like, not just Magnum.
Yeah, fair enough. But still, like, if something's your suit and that's what you're good at, though, then use that. I mean, I prefer somebody using something that they're really good at and that they've put a lot of hours in and they know and that's their suit, than trying to conform to the meta and playing a lot worse, you know. So, but in my opinion, nothing at 200 raid compares to the Akai now. And I might even say it's OP at this point. Like, even at 250, I didn't really fear too many general types. I was like getting in there. I was clapping pretty good. Just saying.
I'll have to get in and try it.
And with stealth, I mean, I don't know. Again, at 250 and stuff, I think it's kind of balanced. At 200, this is way too much. Like, this is definitely way too much at 200 cost. Hands
200
down.
is still suffering from just having a lack of diversity in that class anyway, though.
Yeah,
Like,
but
that's the bigger thing with this change, is that it didn't change enough for 200 in general.
but I mean, that's my biggest problem now, is that this, in my opinion, is the definitive best raid at 200. Like, now there is only one raid as ground, and it's the Akai, and then in space it's the Draw C, and that's pretty much it. So anyway, there's my rant about the Akai. It's cool, but at 200, I think they went a little overboard, or a lot of overboard. But yeah, your guys' thoughts. sorry for the rant, but yeah. Ugh. I'm also
200
kind of
needs-
scared.
200 needs more love in general.
That is true. But I'm scared as a support player at 200 now, though. Like, this thing is gross.
And it's kind of weird because, like, now with the Aga guy out, it almost kind of. By the way, we're just really not paying attention to 200 at all. Like, even this other low end is still just 250.
Yeah.
And that's just going to be the lower bound now.
So
Even though they're still putting in 200 lobbies.
I'm kind of curious to see if they just suddenly just stop doing 200 lobbies and we only get 250 and up. What do you guys think about that?
I feel like a lot of the
Stop
support
tracking.
players would be a little salty, but like enough of their suits have been bumped up that they'd still have stuff to do at other costs as long as they get them.
Here, I wanted to add. I kind of wanted to touch on this too, Magnum, just to kind of supplement what you're thinking. So I just wanted to put out a different look at the Akai based on what you're saying. And general, especially if it's stealth raid, you're doing a lot of stuff solo. And I mean, all the stuff that's been changed about the Akai, it essentially turns it into a 1v1 monster. Which I think
It's the
raids should
perfect
excel.
suit.
Yeah, I think raids should excel in 1v1. I think in most places, regardless of your class, if you step up to a raid in a 1v1 scenario, you should be a little bit scared, because unlike generals, raids are that's like what raids are supposed to specialize in. I feel like, with certain cases, maybe like Tezuta or whatever.
Yeah.
But and then, in regards to like what they've changed about the Akai, it's not like those options are all insta stuns. Its only instant stun option wasn't even affected. And granted, it's easier to set up, but you're still talking about like, and I haven't played it yet, so I don't know how fast the Vulcan.
It's pretty quick. Like it was
Excuse
really easy to Vulcan and then go into.
Mhm. You shoot 4 shots per volley. Like, how fast do you think you or how many shots do you think you hit with to get the stagger off?
Maybe 10. Like it wasn't much, and the ASL
That
is
is not long.
amazing on that. So it's just like do, and then they're staggered, and I'm just like beam, waddle, beam, waddle, smack, smack, smack. They're dead if they
Hmm.
were a general. Like that's how gross
Right.
it was.
And I guess I would probably say, in regards to that, like, your first encounter probably will be an overwhelming defeat on whoever you catch alone. Probably, definitely so if it's the support. But I mean, at that point, if the enemy team isn't adjusting how they're doing things to make up for the fact that they know an Akai's there, and they need to be more receptive to the support's call outs and stuff. I mean, I don't think like if the team's allowing you to punish them, then that's not on the fault of the suit at that point. They just, because I mean, even with all the package, if you put the Akai in a excuse me, if you put the Akai into a 2v1 situation, it's definitely harder. Like, I'm not saying like if it's skill package now, it's gonna be like in a worse soft spot. It's definitely better than it was before the changes. But I mean, it just gets, for any suit, infinitely
Oh
harder.
yeah.
But raids always had the problem of having to potentially deal with 1vx situations with lack of help from the team. Because I mean, it's once you get caught trying to get out to the support or clean up people who are falling back or something, you can get put in an awkward spot. Granted, that doesn't really make it any easier for like the light armor and stuff, but I almost feel like the Zaku one and the light armor play a supplementary role. And for suits like the Akai, where you're pretty much on your own little stealth mission. You're like Solid Snake at that point,
Mhm.
and you know all the tools you can get. And
I mean,
The light armor still has the poke game with its rifle. That's one of the bigger things that it can do. Not to mention it can close in pretty well for melee.
I feel like with how the Vulcans are now, though, and the missiles, you could almost play your own poke game though with the Akai. Like I
it
feel
does
like
have
it
good
has a full package now, whereas like it seems like the GM Lite probably has the superior poke game for sure. But
Mhm.
other than that, like it wins in one thing, whereas everything else at 200, the Akai just has an advantage. Like that's my biggest deal. Like this one just
Mhm.
completely that's my biggest problem is it feels like it just replaced everything at 200, and just looking at it before it looked like it was probably best on paper. Now it's just like this feels like a duh. It's best for sure.
It is a little weird
Yeah,
that they didn't touch on either the light or the Zaku one though, at least a little bit.
Yeah.
I agree.
Like
I was dumbfounded when at least the Zaku one wasn't on the list
also
as well.
25 hits, so seven shots. By the way.
7 shots on the Vulcan to get a stagger.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
So is that 7 bullets though?
No, 7
no,
volleys.
7
Or
volleys,
7
so
volleys
times 4, yeah.
Okay.
So pretty much half of your
Okay.
ammo, more or less, in order to get that stun. But it comes out so fast this thing dumps out bullets pretty quick.
Yeah, it's
Sure.
crazy fast.
But yeah, I mean, as far as like the balance between raids goes in 200, yeah, I mean I agree, they definitely threw it out the window. Although I don't know, I kind of like the idea of having a strong raid, I guess. Um, a lot of stuff that I hear from players when they say they don't play the raid class is that this like sorry, is that it's hard to pick up and get into, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And I mean,
That was me. early on.
depending on who you ask, some players think that the lower cost games are the best place for new players to kind of get their toes wet for stuff like that. So, I mean, like I'm not saying it's not in a position where it's much stronger than it was before, but you know, just like how I think the Striker Custom is fine, you're essentially in a you're one raid against like all these people that hate you. What I've said about raids in the past. Like as a raid player, everyone hates you. So
The
I
Akai natural taunt is still in
Oh my
place.
gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true.
yeah, you got that going. on.
I felt it. I felt the global Akai taunt. It was still there.
So I mean, there is that. I'm not like saying this to justify like, oh well, it's in a perfectly fine spot, but you know, at the same time, the generals have the mark two. We can have the strong Akai
Fair
that
enough. I mean,
may or may not still play.
I haven't got to play it at 200 yet. So fair enough. I did play it at 250, but at 250 it felt pretty balanced. So
Mhm.
all I'm saying is at 200 I was already like getting some high scores, which I don't even know what that game was here the other day, but still, I was still going hard, and yeah, so now I just feel like where I've practiced it, it's like, well, now it's just going to be a godly suit. Like this is my 200 cost suit to carry now is the Akai. I never thought I'd say that.
Mhm.
The day
I think that
one.
also goes towards what we were talking about, or what people were griping about before the changes came, is that a lot of these suits that do have certain skill caps, people that are accustomed to them or who are used to doing gameplay patterns that they excel at are only going to get better with these suits.
Yeah.
So if you did have someone who was a threat in an Akai even before the changes, well, now you're going to see what this thing can really do. And I'm sure over time, statistically, we'll see what that changes, if anything.
I feel like either they're gonna buff the other 200 raids,
Kind of hope they do, to
or
be
they're gonna
honest.
lower the health of the Akai a little bit.
Not even because of the Akai, but because they should have just did it in the first place.
Yeah, that's true.
I will say when I saw maneuver armor on the Akai's list, I was just like, why did you get into the Zaku 1? What the fuck?
Yeah, no, for real though. Like that's my point. I'm like, what? Like there is I mean, honestly, I think there is no reason to use the Zaku one right now. Like, oh wait, here we go. Does it? No, it only has 2 melees, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't got
Yeah.
anything for the Zaku one. I got no redeeming quality for it compared to the
It
other
has a
two.
bazooka.
I guess.
Oh man. Okay.
Now, again, don't get us wrong. People are gonna get in that thing and clap
Oh yeah.
because they're just people who have gotten so accustomed to it. But for people that are just trying to get accustomed to raid in general, like a lot of this is also just for people who are still getting these older suits from their draws and stuff that they don't have a lot of stuff to work. Try to give them something more viable to get in there with these higher costs for.
Okay, so it does have 3 swings at 250 though. But still, my main point is 200 is just completely useless. Pretty much. In comparison, like it's not like it has more damage or anything. So, anyway,
I think in melee it claps harder than the light armor, but
Light
with
armor's
lack
got a
of
hard
protection, you gotta be
got a
careful.
hard lot in life right now.
yeah, it's I don't know, a little weird. But yeah, any other thoughts on the Akai or? Oh, I do have one.
Uh-oh.
higher levels actually feel pretty good too. Like the level 4 Akai, I might actually take out just for fun every now and then.
Yeah,
It's got that-
350 is actually
It's
pretty.
got that buff stealth.
And then it's also got that increased health now too. So you're looking at some pretty good numbers.
Yeah, I don't think there's a mobile suit in the game that can see the Akai coming at level 4.
Hey man, gonna get that sumo waddle out there. But yeah, pretty good. Little OP at 200. Everything else needs to be brought up. So any other thoughts on the Akai, or are we moving to pretty much everything else now?
I could just leave it off
Yeah.
with one thing, just to kind of go with what you were, like you had kind of mentioned. For these entry level low cost suits that everybody can purchase from the DP store, it is kind of unfortunate they didn't add any more stuff to the light armor and the Zaku one, especially since those are going to be early cost low level raids that people are going to be buying and trying out. So it is a little bit strange that they don't have any more support for them in regards to stuff like that. It's
Yeah, that's
just
a
a
little
bit of
weird.
a weird spot.
Can only hope that they wise up a little bit to it.
Haha.
Okay, so Freak Custom, level 4, 1,250 health.
Mhm.
So again, all of these are 500 cost and up. Some of the stuff does affect lower levels, but most part it's 500 cost and up. So then it got thruster, 5 to his thrusters, maneuver armor level 2 from level 1, and force injector level 2 from level 1. And what's the difference between force injector 1 and 2 again?
You take 10% less damage while you're in the maneuver armor effect, and it should increase the stagger threshold for the suit while it's in a maneuver armor state.
Force injector though. That's
Oh, sorry, I
Sorry.
thought you said maneuver armor. Force ejection
Maybe
it
I did.
reduces the consumption rate of force
Oh, okay.
injection like pivots.
Okay. That's why you're always talking about it needs to be 2 instead of just 1 doesn't need to exist. I agree with that statement.
I
Just
don't know.
saying. Like now that
I just think
know,
one is too expensive.
One just needs to be improved.
versus most suits.
fair enough. My thing is, I didn't know why I wasn't actually dodge rolling sometimes. And after you were like, force injector, I hate this. I'm like, oh, that might be why. I'm probably having suits with force injector. Oh, no. Does a BD2 have force injector? Like when it's an
Maybe?
exam,
I'm not sure.
exam do that? I don't know. But
I know
like,
in exam it definitely does. 'Cause on top of that, it has the roll, but
yeah.
Mhm.
I could go look real quick.
So yeah, I want to say that's the one that I'm just like, why didn't I dodge roll? I'm trying. No. Why did I just boost 3 times forward? So yeah, pretty cool, I guess. I mean, the free customs downswing is just gross anyway. So I guess they felt it needed a little bit more health and a little bit more ability to get to the target. I can see that after playing it. Fair enough.
At least those costs, yeah. Everything starts doing more damage, so you kind of have to make up for it. The 5 increase boost is pretty nice. I think it's kind of low. Like I didn't realize the Freak Custom was in a worse place boost wise than the Pixie, man.
Yeah, I think it's a
Like-
fucking
Oh, yeah.
nightmare performance. It's
They
just
should've
one of
given
those
that
things
thing-
where like early on with exam suits, it almost seemed like they made them underperform on purpose just to
Because
highlight
of
the exam
exams.
system.
Yeah.
And after a while, when they started bumping them up, it's like, well, we can't do that anymore because all these other suits can move like they do an exam normally that they're having to face. And yeah, it does have force injector level
Level 1.
for the
New
BD.
buff.
Yeah, for the BD2.
We're going to make exams in Hades permanent.
Oh
God.
gosh, but no, for real
Or,
though.
like,
Like I feel like the
Give
free
them
custom you
no
have to do.
drawback at all. That'd be hilarious.
Oh, that would be dumb. But yeah, the free custom. I feel like you have to be an exam to use that suit well.
Mm. And also, the free custom has horse injector, at least a 450. Let me see if it actually has. And then,
Yeah, I think it has level 1 at all, and then now it's
yeah,
level 2 at level 4. Yeah, it's kind of cool. I'm terrified of its downswing, but that's about it really. So I don't know if it's gonna be too much in the meta, but every little bit helps, I guess.
For
The,
sure.
the next one is the big one for me. Like I'm hyped about this next one because I already said if they somehow buff its Gatling, I don't even know, man. Like I doubt they will, but somehow if it's the Gatling,
and they sure did.
it's gonna be amazing. And not only did they just buff it, but 20 damage pretty much, well, it's 19, but 20 damage at level 2, and then level 3 also got an increase. Like Unit 5
Feels
is
good.
gross. Also, it did get a
Okay.
health buff at all levels. By 1,000. But yeah, now you actually deal damage to general types at 500 cost, which is kind of a big deal. So, I like this suit. I really like this suit. And
It's interesting.
you can get out of it
Okay.
faster now too. That was one of the big things I didn't like was like you know a
Yeah,
lot of times you crouch down. Hopefully, Shield Senpai saves you. But now you can actually get up and boost real quick and get out of the way. You have to.
Oh no, the return of the car alarm. Fuck.
Haven't heard
Oh
it
no,
yet.
it
I
stopped.
think
It stopped. I think we're good.
I think a cool effect they could have added to Unit 5, because like with the changes they've made, it's kind of like it seems like they're trying to make it an all range suit.
Yeah.
Like I was kind of hoping more for changes that made it a little bit more viable close range. Everything that they've done, like I guess 1,000 more HP kind of falls into that category.
Mhm.
But it seems like their main focus here is to make the range options more viable, which is fine. But I think like more damage is always good. But I think if they wanted to do a better way of doing that, is kind of like what Magnum said, and they add a skill where the Gundam Unit 5 can cancel out of its crouch positioning with the turret out with a boost. So you just immediately go from crouched machine gun fire into a side boost or something.
Mhm.
That would be awesome.
Because you have to stand up. And I
So
think that would
instead of
help. 'Cause
having to cancel out with like a tackle, it would just be straight boost.
Right, like
Yeah.
if you're in a gunfight, or like maybe you're docking somebody and the general's looking at you, without having to like get over, you just literally are in Docker mode and you just like zip out of the way. Um, I think that would have been a much more needed, because you would essentially be like you set to stand still, but the fact that you can just kind of like pivot on a dime and stop the DACA when you need to helps you out. Because I mean, if somebody's rushing you down and you're in a cross position, you just like whoa and just get out of there quick, fast, and in a hurry. I think it would have been interesting to have something like that added,
That'd be cool. Yeah. But
or a dodge roll.
Yeah, let's say dodge roll would have been nice. It's nearer than a G3. Give it a dodge roll.
yeah, that's what
Right.
I'm talking about. Gatling gun too big for a dodge roll. I mean,
I don't know.
the Unit
Fucking
4 has
Unit
a
4
dodge
can still
roll.
do it.
Yeah, so.
And that thing is
No, and he
just
has to hit BL, whatever.
But yeah, more barrage intensified. Let's go.
Yeah, if Unit 5 can have a dodge roll, but Unit 4 can, and I need a Unit 4 to explode every time it uses the Mega Beam launcher.
yeah, and just it's the side of its suit just erupts.
Yeah,
Give up your
kills
shield.
the pilot.
Kills the pilot and just leaves
Oh,
your suit out
gosh.
there.
Oh man, no, for real though. I was in the Was that the game I was in the flight type? And I was like, come here, Emblem. And I was just like, haha, your shotgun did nothing. And then all of a sudden, Unit 4 beam from like Veront, I think that's who was in it. It was just like,
I think it was.
I was just like, oh.
It was like that gotcha.
Oop.
Oh.
It was just like every time too. I was just like, done so, dude. Okay, here we go. Your suit, man. The Pixie. 45 to 55. Do you think that's enough?
I would have liked 5 more, but like I think one of the things I literally said last time was they just need to give it more boost. So at least they gave it more boost.
Yeah, I mean that's when I was going over these for the update video. I was like, well, I hope this is enough because this is what Emblem said he wanted. But we'll see.
They missed the rest of the checklist. I don't know. We also said they should give it a dodge roll, flight,
Yeah.
poise control,
It needs a
all
lot
the
more.
other stuff.
So I don't remember this.
I don't like the
I must have
movement
blanked out. I don't.
Yeah, we were speaking
Fighting
in
stance
raid,
needs to.
Speaking in raid. Oh man.
but
You know what though? Just because it's such a hardcore like geek kind of stealth suit, it kind of needs stuff like that for survivability.
I agree.
Especially when
Kinda.
things start to outspeed it, and when it's more detectable depending on who has stealth detection. So it's like, yeah, there are times when you still won't be able to see it, but the radius for that is getting closer, or is getting further away. That's the big thing about anti-stealth in general. When you can't like completely reveal stuff, is that you're gonna see them approaching sooner, regardless.
Yeah.
I would have liked to buff the boosted thruster speed skill on it too.
I was
Yeah.
kind
think
of
that would've been
surprised not
nice.
to see that.
Because the big thing for that suit when it first came is that it was actually pretty fast, and the fact that you had few suits that could actually detect it, it literally would just zoom in off screen from out of nowhere, and you would just be like, "What?" And before anyone could react, it was clapping at support or whatever it was trying to tell.
Oh yeah, it was terrifying. I cried
Shinderu.
pretty much.
Nani?
Nani?
Yeah, I think it could use the speed skill. Nirvana level 2 is nice. Being able to run away better, or I guess engage, take less damage is cool. But I would have liked a little bit more maneuverability because I mean the Pixie, unless you do like a grenade into machine gun bullpup fire or something, you're pretty much you have to catch people off guard because you don't really have a good setup thing. You just catch
Initiator.
people. Yeah, surprise motherfucker, and you just go in.
Pretty much.
So I think them pushing the
Yeah.
envelope on its speed factor would have been nice and boost.
Pixie is all about raw initiation from
Yeah.
behind. Like you really do have to just get in over to your melee.
So yeah. Hopefully that's a bit better. I mean, I'm always scared of a Pixie. Like for real though, some of the best games in the last ranked was when there was a Pixie in the 500 cost,
Mhm.
bread and things, and then we just decimated. So I can see why they'd be hesitant to give it too much, but at the same time, yeah, definitely need
I
something.
don't know. I feel like if you asked the real meta Bible thumpers, you know, there are some people who think the Pixie is absolute trash, like not worth running, too easy to counter, not a good
He's
mobile
so
suit.
bad.
And like I think some speed. I disagree usually with that. I think they're just finding the kind of like maneuverable positioning and pseudo free reign with stealth that you get. But that's neither here nor there.
Well,
But I like with the changes they made, like as like a general overall thing, would those players probably change their mind? No, like nothing about the Pixie and its core has changed. It's just it can boost a tad bit longer. It has a high level maneuver armor.
I mean,
Meta
here's
after a certain point kind of turns into like convenience too. Like
True. What are we gonna say, Magnum?
well, here's my point to that whole like the Pixies like garbage or whatever, not meta. Okay, so here's the thing: if you're going into a actual clan ranked match, maybe, then I could see it, because then you'd have to have a team comp that could work with the person playing the Pixie, but at the same time, you could have a team comp that could work with the person playing the Pixie. So if their point is that in a full team situation where everybody's working together perfectly, then okay, cool. I could see maybe that argument a little bit. But because you're in rated, and who knows who's working with who half the time, if at all, you can go in there and you get that chaos factor, and that's, I mean, that's what every good ranked that I had was, that where we almost got a perfect score was straight up. We had a Pixie causing chaos, and they just never could group together because they were always, like searching around a building to find a Pixie, and I'd be just like, okay, intensify the barrage, beam missiles, or I'd probably be in the mud rock too, one or the other, and just be like, okay, you're looking for my Pixie, I'm just gonna kill you because you're not even paying attention to me. I'm a mud rock and I just meleeed you. What? You're looking for my Pixie, man? Like, come on. Like it was just straight up chaos, and we could just capitalize on that, and we just punished and was able to push. Now at that point, I had a team that could capitalize on it and push. Still, it was just like every time though, the highest scores were just because of Pixie was causing chaos. So I mean, in a random rated situation, I think it's fine. I think any of the stealth suits are fine. But then you have another point where people are like, well, there's ace matches. So again, in stuff where it takes a lot of coordination and you actually have proper teamwork, maybe the Pixie doesn't fit as well. And I can see that point. But if you're just going in rated, technically anything works, really.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I think a lot of people
Okay.
are
We lost you.
sort
You
of
stopped.
skill cap.
you think a lot of people, and then you went,
Oh, well, I have no control over that. Sorry.
yeah.
No, you're
problem.
good. We're just letting you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are underestimating the actual skill caps for some of them we actually have, because ranked and rated or ranked and clan ranked are so rare because of all the issues they've been having. But like rated is nice, but it's still randoms. It's kind of rough. Ranked is people at least getting in there specifically for trying to like get their team to victory and doing all this other stuff because there's more stakes to it.
Yeah.
And then clan is like you're actually going in with people that, and on paper you should know. So now you're going in with like squads and shit, and that's even on a different level. Like that's also team meta now.
Yep.
That you can actually have some kind of control over. So that's more competitive. Both of those are more competitive than ranked is. So the meta for those is going to shift. And I would almost say that those two are actually a little bit more important in terms of the meta than rated is, because you can't really control what people do in there.
Yep.
So I think rated's meta is just like, how survivable is it? How much can you do it without having to babysit each other? How easy is it for you to do your own thing? But like that has nothing to do with like proper like team-based game meta. This is like almost if you wanted to go, just happen to have people that back you, maybe sometimes. But I don't think that's actually like the true competitive like team thing for this yet. It's just that we have so few instances of the other two that it kind of, we don't have a choice, more or less.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, well, here's an example too. Actually, I think I've said this before, but when we were doing the 5v5, 6v6 one, where it was like 400, 450, somewhere, I think it was 450. But we did 2 down barrages on the desert when it was that one. I can't remember exactly what it was. I think that was target shuffle. But we had 2 down barrages, and as soon as we started doing the double down barrage strategy, we were actually getting, we found how we gelled as a team, right? So, and we were able to make that meta work that we kind of set up ourselves. So, and then we actually had a solid little couple of runs, and that was how we got our first win. That against some guys that we lost, I think, twice to. So felt pretty good to finally get a win against those guys. But yeah. So yeah. Any other thoughts on the Pixie, or just meta of it in general?
It's in a nice place.
I hope it does make people bring it out more often because I have been seeing it drop off.
Yeah, as a support, I kind of don't like seeing it, but I've gotten rusty to listening because used to I'd see it a lot. So if I heard
Mhm.
something move behind me, I'd look at my radar instantly, and if I didn't see something, I'm turning around because like that's always scary.
They're gonna catch you being complacent now.
Yeah,
Fuck you.
pretty much.
Cause you're slipping.
Yeah. But yeah, the GAN, I yeah,
Still no shield.
still no shield.
Still no shield.
I will say the bombs. Let's the bombs. Okay, so they're faster, but the thing is, I
Mhm.
think your range, if you will, is like your effective range is like 50, maybe 100 to like actually hit somebody. If you're actually trying to shoot somebody at the full 200 range, you've went too
Mhm.
far. Like I would say maybe 50 at best. So yeah, that's one of the big problems I think with it is like okay, they're a bit faster. I wish you had more capacity and maybe that might help, but you can follow up on somebody's stun or stagger, which I mean at that point if you can get there, you might as well just melee them. I kind of started thinking about that. I was like, I tried to do the bomb thing, but if I just melee that guy, he would have had a huge chunk of his health just gone. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like it's a weird initiate that you can try to get off, and maybe there's gonna be that one guy who's got a high skill cap that could just like dodge roll into you, pop a bomb, back up real quick, and then start poking you to death. You know, maybe that's what happened. But the missiles from the shield still suck, and shield's not a shield. So
Yep.
Yeah, I was surprised to not see any adjustments made to the needle missiles, but I guess this kind of like gives you insight into what the I guess this gives you insight into what the devs mindset of what the GN is supposed to do, which is, you know,
dab,
Big
that was
poke.
shink, 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 shink.
poking people with its beam saber. Um,
I mean, it's got reduced
like
switching time too to it.
mm,
Like, oh no,
get ready to fight.
shink, 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 shink,
So
shink.
it's interesting. I did play a match with it a bit earlier, and I don't know. I feel like I still got packed like any GN would, and most matches. But there were cool situations where the changes to the stuff was noticeable. Like I was able to set up a stagger at close range against the guy with the hide bomb, and
Mhm.
that felt pretty good. Um, and I noticed I really didn't notice too much of the stuff with like the movement stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it was already kind of fast. Turning speed's cool. Definitely kind of felt that. I think that's one reason why I was missing more of my swings was trying to adjust the turning speed to the input lag. It's a little weird.
Yeah, there are some people that did videos with it where they were putting field mode and just how much it was helping them literally like around almost 180 and like nail it. Like it's substantial after a certain level.
Field motors are nice; they're really nice.
Like
Also, just having that
if
long
you
distance.
emphasize reaction, like that's a big thing.
Yeah, that long distance part going up to 7 at
Mhm.
level 3 and up, that's pretty nice. Just saying. But
Yeah,
yeah,
you can fit the motors on too.
yep. And then again, side swings and downswing got more damage. What? What?
More
Shink,
damn
shink, shink, shink,
more
shink, 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 shink,
poke.
shink, shink, shink.
It needs to be more
Oh my
pokey.
gosh, dude, that is gross. Okay,
Maximum poke.
so yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, any other thoughts? I mean, I pretty much feel the same, exactly what you said as far as the game that I played when I was playing against Gustav right before this was. It was cool, but it felt pretty much still GAN things.
hmm
It just feels like it's even more GAN than what it was, I guess. Have an extra maybe bomb that might hit every now and then.
It's Ganny. I think it definitely makes the suit a little bit easier to throw down with. It'll
Oh
just
yeah,
kind of come down to getting used to the new hide bombs and being able to supplement those in. Because I think the hide bomb change will change it from it being like kind of strictly a follow-up suit to where like with the people that have to practice and the right plays can definitely make it more of a 1v1 type of thing. You just have to be close. It's
yeah.
going to be like a high risk, high reward. Like if the game player is good and they're able to get that stun off on you, like you're dead. That's like regardless of who you are. Like if the game catches you, you're fucking dead.
Like
So it's interesting.
I feel like this might be GBO2's like Lee Sin or something here with how much damage this thing can do. Like if there's probably somebody out there that's gonna just like pull like a Baker or something with this suit and just decimate everybody. So I feel like it's a possibility now. We'll see, but definitely, definitely want to try to play it more. But I just feel like it's gonna take too much to really get good with it. So either way, it'll still be fun to play in customs and stuff. Get that super downswing of like 9,000 damage on a general, no
Yeah,
big deal. Like
9234 on a gun cannon. God damn. 3080 baseline with this level 3
on the Hyzak
saber.
custom, I did just a side swing and hit for 6,000 like 782. I was like, what?
So gross how this kills stuff. Like the way this saber works is how I assume sabers would work in general.
Yeah, right. Oh man. Okay, so but yeah, Gan's disgusting. Pretty cool. Now this next one is pretty legit, and I kind of want to play more of the Goof Custom. What do you guys think about all the utility for the Goof Custom?
They tanked it up. I think this is what a lot of the um suits that they were trying to like older suits are trying to make relevant higher cost. Like this is kind of what I had and I was kind of thinking would happen to more of the suits where it's like stat overhauls, slots increased,
Yeah.
new skills and stuff like that. Like I think I think they could have done this with more suits. Like
I
there are
agree.
a couple that get it, but I feel like there weren't. mm, maybe there were like I'm trying to think how many 1, 2, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there are 10 suits. Like maybe I'm just like focusing too much on a minority. Like
Like what other suits would you have wanted to see on there?
the pixie. Yeah,
I was gonna say, I think I can answer that one.
maybe red Gundam. Because I mean, I guess like as soon as I said it, like the only suits that really don't get like a massive text overhaul are like the BD. Um, Prototype Gundam really doesn't get much change besides its. Well, I guess it's in prototype's kind of the same boat as the Goof Custom. I would have liked to have seen more stuff like the Akai or like the Gian, or like full Thunderbolt, full armor, and even G3 where they kind of touch on everything a little bit more. But like, I can't say like all the suits didn't get a lot of stuff added on.
Yeah.
They're just somewhere I would have liked to see a little bit more, I guess.
Thunderbolt's kind of interesting because it's an example of a suit that used to be like a high-end big dick suit that just kind of lost its way after a while.
Yep.
But the custom and all these suits that are getting higher levels in these higher cost areas, it's pretty much just them committing to, yeah, these we're being entirely serious about you these. Here we go. This is what you're gonna need. Hopefully it's enough. And it kind of shows a commitment to like, yeah, these aren't gonna be just like goofy things that you get in roles where it's like, well, I guess I can run it if I can't do anything else. But I'd rather not. So it's a certain show of commitment at least to them like bumping out these suits.
As far as the Goof Custom, I haven't got to play it yet, but I mean, really, there's nothing too much quality of life here. It's just straight, mainly stats. They did get the thruster
Mm.
thing. I think I don't know who Chad say he played it, but the you can kind of tell from the turning speed in the actual speed overall feels better. You got maneuver armor too, but the rest of it's just straight defense and part upgrades. So that's always nice. The other thing too with the custom, I think what we said, or at least what I recall, is that it already had so many buffs already that I didn't think it was going to be too much, and this was a lot more than I was expecting for the custom. So
It's specifically more for like a level of the custom. I think that's the more important thing to take away from
well,
that.
it is the 4 for sure, but I still think it kind of does fall off a little bit, even at the 3 or the 2, because the flight type exists. But even still, at the level 4, though, I think it might actually be relevant. Like, you can definitely use it at 500 and 550 now. But
It'll be interesting because like a lot of problems with the older suits is that like even with them making the little minor changes by level, it still felt like you were playing an old suit. You
yeah,
know?
exactly.
So making it a little bit more comparable is nice.
Okay, so anything else for the custom, or are we gonna hop into the Thunderbolt?
I say we keep it moving.
Okay, Thunderbolt. So I got to play this thing. Gustav, I think you said you played it. What do you
Well, I
think?
can go and practice.
You went in practice? So
Yeah.
I went straight into a match, and they were hitting me easier, first of all. And I'm used to fighting Thunderbolt in the Zeong. And the Zeong, somehow they would miss me in the Zeong with their melees. So either these guys were just people who only played the Thunderbolt, or they really buffed the melee. And I have to say they really buffed the melee because I actually hit a melee. I don't think I've ever hit a melee in the Thunderbolt until last night. So cool. Melee's good. Yes. Pretty much got the Akai treatment for the melee. Got maneuver armor 2, force injector 2. Got a part expansion for the short range 4 to 8, which is a pretty big deal actually for like speed and thrusters and stuff. He got 3,000 health, which I don't know with how it still feels with your shields exploding. I still don't know if that's enough. But it definitely feels a whole lot better. Like, I mean, there's no doubt that it feels like 90% better with the changes. But I don't know if the 3,000 is exactly enough. It might need just a little bit more, or something changed with its shields. And again, I think we kind of talked about having maybe a skill where the shields don't actually stagger you when they blow up.
Yeah.
The heat rate, so pretty much the twin beam rifle, if I recall correctly, you could actually shoot the first shot, and if you shot a second shot too fast, you would actually overheat on the first one, so you'd only get 3 beams out. Could be wrong there, but I'm pretty sure that's what they changed. So now you could spam it twice and actually get 4 shots, is what they've done here. The speed, so it's easier to hit, and they reduced the weapon switch time. Pretty much everything, they reduced weapon switch time, so let's get that one out of the way.
That's
The
a pretty nice one in general.
5-tube rocket, speed was increased. It felt really good to use. The reuse time was cool, so you could switch to something else and then come back and then shoot again and then switch to something else. One thing I didn't get to try, and I'm really curious if you're able to do this, Gustav, or I can check it here in a second. But the missile bay, they have changes to the missile bay, and I'm really confused. But before that, the 6-2 missile pod, the stagger accumulation value was increased, so it's easier to stagger, and the rate of fire doesn't really seem like it was nerfed. Like, it says reduced rate of fire, but it still feels, I mean, it feels like it might have been by 0.1% or something, like it doesn't feel like they reduced the rate of fire on that at all.
Yeah, it's not super substantial. It doesn't feel like it anyway.
So then the missile bay. So they up the power, and this is the useless missile bay that is on every full armor. So they up the power, and then they up the range, and they reduce the blur. So my question is, when you fire these off, does it still go whoosh in all directions, or does it aim? Because I kind of was destroying their base as I do.
It aims. It looks like it aims. It's in a tighter.
And I feel like it was
tighter
actually aiming.
pattern.
Yeah, I feel like it was actually aiming with it. So we might have a fixed full armor missile bay finally on a suit.
Now, if only they could do that for the
For the rest of them, yes, please. And now this thing
Uh,
is actually pretty deadly if it still staggers with the same stagger value. What was you
Magnum,
saying?
just to give you a little more info on the 6 twin missiles. According to the Japanese wiki, the before it was at 177 rounds a minute, and now it's at the 220 rounds a minute.
Wait, it got buffed?
No, the fire rate, it's down. Like before, you could fire 177 rounds a minute. Now it's up to
Oh yeah,
220.
sorry, my bad. Never mind. Yeah, numbers. That makes sense.
Let's give you a physical indication of what the difference is. But I think it'll be very interesting. Big overhauls like this definitely tend to make suits get pulled out and see a lot more play, especially when you tweak all the toys.
Oh
Like we
yeah.
might not see like people run out to grab their pixies right off the bat or whatever, but they'll definitely see this with the Thunderbolt and be like, "Ooh, give me the loot."
I mean, I feel like again the biggest problem is that if a shield explodes, you're staggered, and then if you got hit by something that will stagger you, you're staggered, and then the shield blows up again, you're staggered. If you get hit by something, you're staggered, and then you're staggered again. That was the biggest problem. That happened to me like 2 deaths, and I was just like, ugh. Okay, I'm just gonna wait. Wait. I mean, you do have like dodge roll and stuff, but it's just like you had to just wait for your stuff to come back, and then you're like, okay, we're good. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe give it a double dodge roll.
Give it over boost while you're at it.
For real though. It needs something. It still needs something else. Oh yeah, and its turn speed is still complete garbage. You have to have a field motor on that now. Like
Yeah, like I got the level 1 at least, and I can only imagine with it off.
yeah, like I tried to. I mean, I was doing good without a field motor on it, but now I'm just like, yep. I threw one on it, went in practice just to look at it, and I'm like, oh, I can't go back to not having one. Rip. And then the last thing that I didn't talk about is the large beam cannon. The speed is up, so pretty much you point, shoot, something gets hit. Reduce recovery time, using the weapon tool, get it back faster, and then of course weapon swap.
Yeah, there's plenty of other stuff to switch to in the meantime, but yeah, that cannon's one of the bigger things that it has.
It seems like you always have something to do with the suit, which is nice.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. I think with the missile base swap, and if that actually has a tight enough like cluster that you can actually do something with it, then outstanding. Because honestly, I forgot I even had it. Like when I was killing their base, I was doing it without the missile base.
You're
was
just
like-
like skipping
I
it
was like,
entirely.
oh yeah, that's right. I have this. Like when it was down to like its last 10% health at 2 minutes,
Mhm.
I was like, I accidentally just rotated through the weapons normally, and I was like, oh, oop, my bad, I forgot. And then I shot it, and I was like, was that tight cluster, or was I just close to the base? And I'm like, oh wait a minute. Then when I was looking at the notes on the update video, I was like, wait.
Yeah, so
If
for
they
missile
upped it-
barrages like that, like buffer is actually important.
Yeah. But if they were going to buff the range on it, it doesn't make sense that, they're going to buff the range of stuff flying off in random directions. Like, that's just, I was just like, what?
No, it's just a giant cone where you get like hit by one thing in it.
Yeah.
But it's pretty tight. It's a lot like a barrage in that case.
Yeah. Kind of cool. I might have found my base intensify raid. Let's go.
Yeah,
But
Red Gundam.
touche, touche. Pretty
No,
much.
keep going with that.
But anyway, next we have the BD2. I know you said like you feel like it could have used more, but the biggest thing that caught my eye is that 7% melee mod and its downswing being so brutal, and then 4 also got increased. And also
Did I say
exam ups your damage.
an example? Like I think with stuff of exam, the suits of exams, just the minor adjustments are probably fine. I think it's just with other normal suits where they probably could use a bit more.
Yeah.
I'm just mad about the pixie.
Yeah.
So with the exam suits, it's exponential. Especially once you start getting towards the end of the matches anyway, you stop it. So
Because I mean,
those changes
are pretty notable, and they translate over to exams as.
Yep. So maneuver armor level 2, I think, also helped, giving pretty much everything that. The
We'll see.
1000 health, I guess, is kind of cool. The biggest thing that it kind of like, I was like, oh, well, here we go. Now we're talking. Is it actually has the melee damage increase? That's where I think some suits are kind of lacking, because like I feel like the BD2 kind of has its place at 500 now with some of these changes, like with how much utility you have with the missiles and everything that it has. I feel like it could kind of, because we were talking before that the BD2, like I was surprised that it was on the list, but when you're talking about like the Mark II having so much damage and some of the other stuff having some of its utility,
Yeah, it's not as devastating as it used to.
yeah, pretty
There's some
much.
kind of
So
haul ass beat it up.
with the damage buffs, it might need some defense buffs or something a little bit, but I feel like with the damage buffs, it definitely brings it closer. So I'm a fan.
Yeah, and I think too, like it just had the issue of being a space suit. Like it has space specialization. It's technically considered rather a space type mobile suit. Just like how the Hyakushiki kind of suffers in the same regard. Like, I don't know. Sometimes whenever a suit's made for space, sometimes they take away. It's almost like they just take away some of its melee aspects for no reason, just because, like, well, space suits generally specialize in range or whatever.
Mhm.
So we're
So
gonna
they make it
just
more balanced or don't have
yeah,
it lean.
we're gonna balance
Yeah.
between the stats and neuter its melee capability or something like that. And they're outliers, Goof ground type, or not Goof ground type. Goof custom is an example of a ground space suit that's more like range oriented, or like Digian is a suit that can go in space and is definitely melee oriented. But I feel like in general, especially when a suit's made for both, they tend to kind of like keep it at the bar, and specialized suits can sometimes suffer for it. But I think this is good.
Yeah, I think it, with exam being the big thing for it. Kind of like the Freet tie, but I don't know. I feel like this actually compare a little bit. Force injector, maneuver armor, thruster, and a bit of health. I don't know. That damage just feels good. Like I feel like
More damage is nice.
I still kind of want them to double down with G3 and give it like double sabers.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Hyper
when we get to
hammer.
there. Yeah, I was gonna say hyper hammer when we get there. But yeah, BD2 might have its spot back in the top in level 3 and 4. But prototype
Clap at
Gundam.
that downswing.
Oh my gosh, the downswing's gross, dude. I am scared. But yeah, we get a downswing.
The
Ugh.
big yeet leap.
So they gave this thing a lot of defense, which I think it needed.
and a whole 250 HP.
Yeah, that was kind of weird. When I
Yeah.
saw that, I was like,
Yeah.
wait, what? But then I saw the defenses though, and that kind of balanced it out a little bit.
It's just weird that they
So-
would do it then.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like magic. It's like Magic Pixel.
But
Yeah, 4 across the board's good. It's 4% reduced damage from all types, essentially.
6 for the ranged ballistic. Oh no, wait, never mind. That's
Missing
4.
it.
Never mind. I'm
About to say,
dumb.
like, is my math
Like,
bad?
I
Like,
was
it looks like it's all 4 to me.
Never mind. I'm being dumb.
I was like,
I
what
didn't-
are you talking about?
Yeah. Math is hard. Calculus is easy. all I'm
Math hard.
saying.
Yeah, I feel you.
No, for real
So
though. That was like our biggest
Mhm.
mistakes in like every class I was in college. Like we'd miss like 2 plus 2 and have everything else right. But yeah, thrusters increased by 5, and I feel like their answers just increase everything's thrusters these days. I feel like that's every time they have something, it's like you're almost guaranteed a thruster increase.
Yeah, you gotta get that high factor in there.
unless you're a support.
Mobility is key. And as Gustav has been saying today, you got to make people say, "What high eye?" He's fast. But I mean, I've been going ham on mobility with my builds recently, so it's a lot better than There's a surprising lack of leg shock dampener level 2 added to the suits.
Oh
like,
yeah, that's right. Oh my gosh.
Jump boost control level 2.
I can't believe
you jump faster.
I can't believe it took us this long to even
anything.
get
They
to that
skipped
joke.
it entirely.
Oh my
And we
gosh.
were meaning it hardcore like the entire last podcast, and like not a single suit got it at all, which is good. I mean, those skills are like almost completely worthless.
Oh wow, that is. Oh my gosh, that
We
is
find
fantastic.
out that they actually do listen to the podcast. They're like, "I'll show you the hell you're talking about."
That's great.
Yeah, next time they just add it. Just
We
every one
revised
of
all
them
of our
gets it.
changes made to raids, and we decided to change it all to leg shock
Oh,
and quick boost.
Everyone's got
that
leg
is good.
buffers now.
Yeah.
But yeah, then it got maneuver armor level 2, which I think it needs to get in there just because it's one trick. You go bazooka and downswing, and then downswing. Pretty much the prototype. And so it's got speed too with its thruster output level 1. The only other thing that got a thruster was what? The Goof custom, and that's level 2.
Yeah, and they got it level 2.
Yeah. So then, so Proto, I feel like it hopefully is tanky enough where it can just get in there and do what it needs to do. But I don't know. I feel like if a team's paying attention, they can still turn on that thing and just like say goodbye.
Yeet.
And the G3 now though,
G3 feels
nice.
pretty good.
Yeah. We got 1,000 health, and this is level 2 and up. Mid range and long range got an upgrade, 3 to the long and 1 extra part to the mid, which I mean complex expansion slot is OP, so yeah, you just pretty much got that for the mid range, so yeah. And it got a dodge roll, ladies and gentlemen. We have a dodge roll.
The dodge roll's a lot. You might say, like, I saw Gustav using it. That was just a grandpa gonna pay like G3. The second bazooka was an illusion. That was super napalm.
What about the other 2
No, that's cool.
bazookas? I don't know, man. Like
That was an illusion, man. You were imagining things.
oh.
Your mind saw a dodge roll, and you were like, so you were just filling in the gaps,
He's just so fast. How is it possible?
Like,
He's
it can't be the G3.
Is it just because
It's
I've been up for
impossible.
like 36 hours now? Is that
Yes,
it?
you were
You're just hallucinating
very
dodgeball.
I'm hallucinating. Yeah, we've been awake too long.
Gustav just used maneuver armor to dodge whatever that thing was. It was not a dodge roll.
Yeah, I threw
Just on
a
top
hide
of my
bomb at
shit.
him, so he just maneuver armored out of it. Okay, got it.
Yep, there you go.
Denied.
So one thing that I thought was weird when they buffed the beam rifle the last time was that they didn't like help its focus like fire at all, and they were just like, yeah, we're gonna help its just single shot like heat rate. Like, okay, cool, but still doesn't really stagger.
Yeah,
So-
now it's a little bit faster.
And it also staggers on normal and focus shooting, which is weird because now I'm like, can you actually break like maneuver armor 1? Like, it's weird when they always say that they increase stagger accumulation with normal and focused. I mean, I don't know if I mean I know what it means, like, but I'm wondering if they ever like will make something break maneuver armor level 1. if you focus.
1879 on a gun cannon with that rifle, by the way.
Ooh,
500.
pretty nice. Yeah, 1360. You got 100 damage. Shortened focus time. Do we actually know how much? I'm guessing they took like a second off of it.
Probably. It still
it-
feels around the same for like these kind of rifles. It's definitely no Alex rifle. Tell you that much. But it feels better.
It's half a second.
Half a second. Okay.
Mm-hmm. It was, according to the JP Wiki, it was 4 seconds before. Now it's 3.5.
And then the reduced heat rate for your focused shooting, which is nice. Again, like I said, I was kind of surprised they didn't do anything for that because that's pretty much a way to stagger and get in there. For the most part. Well, it has bazookas as well, but
It's interesting. So the stagger rise percentage is 40% for both normal and focus shots. So against resistance, looks like you can stagger with 3 shots from a beam rifle, like
ooh.
regardless of if it's charged or not.
Okay, that's kind of cool.
It also just feels really good to roll this fucking thing. Situations where I'd normally have to just hang it up and be like, well, I guess I'm dead. I can get out of now.
Yeah, I think the G3 is like, it was already kind of like one of those suits that was solid and generally just a pretty safe pick. Now I think people that were really, this is one of the suits that is like, anybody who was using this is just like insanely happy now.
Yeah, Maniac went on a fucking tear yesterday.
That's what I was about
posted
to
a
say.
match in my Discord. I was like, Jesus Christ, dude. Who gave this man the G3? Take it away. He's a menace to society.
But yeah, overall, pretty nice. Still think they could do a couple of things, though. I don't disagree that they could help out maybe the Pixie a little bit more, as much as I hate to say it out loud. But
Assist the Pixie.
I could agree with that a little bit. And the Unit 5, I mean, that's also one of my favorite raids because I get to intensify the barrage with the Gatling gun, but that's beside the point.
Give it a roll.
I'm not biased for that suit at all.
Totally not.
But
Unit 5 is a good boy. It deserves it.
So yeah, Thunderbolt, I think, might still be missing something, but it definitely feels like
it's a good step in the right direction.
I was gonna say it's like 99% better than what it was. So I mean, yeah, like outstanding, guys. Now they just need to do something for the Psycho Zaku because that thing is just 2 glass cannon and not enough like utility or skill cap. You know, feels like a.
All right, boys. Start throwing in your favorite mobile suits if you want to get buffed. Gonna bring down that win percentage.
Yeah. The stats are gonna start shifting now. We're gonna see.
Oh my gosh! Oh no! You know what I just thought of? I'm gonna start playing like the Mudrock and just win. and like go hard in the mud rock, get to A+, and then just lose every game in the Dom Barrage that I can.
Get clapped. Oh no.
Just like
Boss,
straight
please.
up feed.
Oh no.
And then just play for like 3 weeks. Sorry guys, I won't be doing anything except for
I mean, that is a thing to think about though. Like all these suits that were kind of so but were viable, like now suits that they could stand a chance against and kind of pick on have buffs. Now they really have to wash their asses properly.
For real though, I think this is a viable strategy. Carry myself with another suit, and then bomb my rating all the way back down,
Just
because they're
get
taking like what,
clapped to
B or
death.
B+ and up is what they're looking at. So
Yeah.
all I gotta do is go from like B+ to A+, and then just like bomb all the way back down with the just not intentionally feed as the Dom Barrage to get all the way back down, and then
Just gonna start gaming the statistics.
just
the
tank his
algorithm.
win rate. Oh wow, our
Companies
Dom
would be like,
Barrage.
we're gonna
And
we're gonna buff the barrage.
The barrage really needs some help, guys. Just find out that like people.
We were gonna buff it, but all the results are from EG Magnum. When we threw away his losses, it was back up to normal win rate.
No. See, that's
bizarre outlier.
See, that's why I gotta have all my other
Stu's
accounts.
just so bad in the barrage. I don't.
Oof. Ouch. Okay.
Like, damn.
Well, yeah, it's strange. It's EG underscore, and it was a varying number of underscores. We stopped keeping track after 10.
No. See, that's the thing. I'll use
Mag-
I'll use like all my other accounts that I got that were just random names before I started the underscore thing. So
Man is ready.
yeah, man. Got a bunch of accounts already at A. I can tank random accounts. No big deal. Although I don't think their rank is high enough to buy one, which is my problem. I'd still have to get them all to like ensign or whatever that you have to be to buy the stupid thing.
So I think this would be a little good wrap up for the raid thing. Why don't we just, without literally to go back into more discussion, but just as like a final say on the suits, why don't we go back through each suit and just give like a, do you think the changes were good? It's like, for instance, Akai, Magnum, so overall, do you think the changes for the Akai were good?
Outstanding. I love it. Feels great at every other cost. Feels too OP at 200, but I'll take it. And I will use it as my carry suit for 200.
Gustav?
Pretty amazing. Definitely going to be giving it more of a shot. Some of the request matches that I had in it, it was surprisingly good even before the changes. Definitely going to be getting in there more with it. At least until I get the Agu guy.
Word. I felt with the Akai. I might still reject the mobile suit request just out of spite.
No.
No. But I definitely want to give it a try. What about the Ifrit custom?
I'm gonna be requesting it like every day.
Oh no.
Get his points back.
Gotta get them
What about the
refunds
Ifrit
in there.
custom?
I think it'll be just about the same. Like, if most of the suits I play, if I'm gonna break maneuver armor 1, I'm gonna break maneuver armor 2.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give it a shake just because they changed it, but I wasn't running that suit too often in the first place. Which is funny because like that was one of the first like high-end 350 suits I gotten like a couple of like almost 2 years ago. But it just hasn't seen that much action for me. I don't think this will change it, but I also did get the level 4 double sabers today. So when I do get it, I am ready.
That is my only, I think, free custom I have is the level 4. So
really?
Yeah, I might try it.
And I'm the same boat with Magnum. Like it changes. Does anything like spectacular or crazy? No. It should just be a little bit more maneuverable, but kind of the same position it was before. And like I said, if gunning at 5, I think it'll be more interesting. You don't have to fully rely on closing the gap. So I think it's interesting. There could be a little bit more done, I believe, but it's interesting.
I like the skill idea that you threw out there because, a lot of people want to crouch, and then that'd be really unique,
Yeah, I'd like that because that's how I do that suit. I
Yeah.
just like crouch and play chicken with people. It's like, is your maneuver armor gonna give out, or are you gonna reach me first? And having something to actually scoot out of that instead of having to immediately like tackle to yeet out of my crouch would actually be pretty nice, just to have an alternative way to move out.
Yep. And also that 20 damage on that thing is nothing to joke about. That's per bullet
Like
too.
it's just extra pressure for a suit that's all about it. So
Yeah.
like I'm down for that. I was gonna run it regardless.
You can actually do damage to generals now. I mean you could before, but I mean like right
Yeah,
now
like
it's
the rifle
substantial
was
now.
still no joke, but now you don't have to lean on it as hard.
Yeah.
Which feels pretty good.
About all I got.
All right, Pixie.
Eh.
Same as before. I mean, again, if I was going to break its maneuver armor, then I'm going to break it. But I guess you can boost to me better now. So
Yeah, I don't
So,
think there's enough done to it, honestly,
yeah,
for the Pixie.
it seems a
I
little
can kind
small,
of
and I
agree.
think considering how much they did to the other suits, it kind of highlights that some of these are a little disproportionate, and that's definitely a good example. Like it's competent. There's definitely people that can still make it work, but it really doesn't need to be faster. They need to put some other quality of life things on that suit to make it more survivable, so it can do its actual stealth job better. So at least they touched it, but they need to touch it more.
So, Gan next.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll just go back to what I said. I think the big brain players that work out the hide bombs would be good, but it'll still kind of feel like Gian play. But the maneuverability is definitely a big deal. Like
yeah.
I think it's definitely better, for sure. Like I think they, aside from a shield, I think they did a good job with it. Like shield and needle bombs would be the only things I would add to it. But I think it's fine.
Yeah, I mean the needle bombs are still kind of like the
Yeah.
hide bomb is cool. If people, there's probably going to be some people that pull some really cool stuff with that. Other than that, though, it just feels even more Gan than what it was. And, you know, it has more damage on its side and downswing. Like what?
More poke. I mean, I'm happy with that as long as you can actually really punish people with it. But yeah, hopefully this isn't the end of the changes that we see like immediately for this thing. Hopefully they mess around with it a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that they still like had it on the list.
Yeah, goof custom.
All right. Yep. Yay or nay?
Yeah.
I was surprised it had this much change. I mean, so yeah, I'm gonna try it. See how it feels.
I'm glad they doubled
Yeah.
down, especially when they have like the 5 that came out too. So
I'll go with yay for sure.
With the changes to the medium range and the long range, I was able to fit, I think, health level 4 and I think I still have a shield level, or I got a shield level 4, I think, health level 4, and then I switched something around, and I think I have actually a higher defense one or something like that. Either way, I got some nice parts on it now, and I really wanted to take it out. What I was going to actually go against Gustav with to begin with, and I was like, Gan sounds fun. It's silly. Let's go. But again, just surprised.
pleasant surprise though, because that suit's needed help for a while.
Yeah.
It's nice that they're not afraid to like touch on it again after the initial buffs.
Okay,
Looked
Thunderbolt.
at it as a yay. Yep. Yay
Yes.
or nay?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely good changes.
After one game, go ahead.
I was just gonna move right along.
Oh, I
Like
was gonna say after one
the
game
whole,
is.
the whole point was to make it like we already did our overview on the suit.
I know, but I mean,
the
just
whole point was just to get
so
our
yay, but like after one game, kind of like final thoughts on it. It was just really, I feel like it's missing something, but I think with practice, outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be just amazing, and I haven't gotten used to it yet.
BD2.
Yay, just because I'm surprised it was on there at all. So
Yeah, and then the damage buff is pretty nice.
Yeah, I think it'll help it out because I think it's already in a good place, so it should be cool. Proto Gundam.
yay. Especially if they're gonna be like bumping it up again, Lord knows.
I feel like it could have a bit more, but I kind of want to see how the defense actually feels. You know, being able
Works
to
out,
push
yeah.
in. Again, kind of the
I
same
feel
thing
you.
with the maneuver armor. If I was going to break it, I would break it again with most of the suits I play, and they can get to me, then they get that crazy downswing.
Lean towards yay, but may change mind depending on perceived performance when you play it.
Yeah, I guess that's a couple of the suits kind of where I've been questioning the
Tentative,
changes.
yay.
Yeah,
And G3.
outstanding.
Yep. Pretty hype. Big yay.
Yeah, I definitely want to play it a little bit more too. I want to try it out.
It was already a good skill suit. Now it's even got more utility, and you know, it wasn't the craziest damage. I didn't fear it for that. I just feared it for the good players that play it.
Yeah.
Give it twin sabers.
Hyper Hammer.
Yes.
Yes.
Heck, give it the javelin while you're at it.
Oh gosh.
There we go.
But
secondary melee javelin.
Could you imagine if they gave it a secondary melee and made it a striker?
Let's go.
Holy shit.
Beam Saber and secondary Hyper Hammer.
It hasn't happened yet for that weapon, so like I would not mind them.
oh gosh.
That. Like you don't have to pick it; it's just here if you want to mess with it.
Oh no. That would
It's
be
like
crazy.
Pocket. It's like a pocket Gashia.
Oh no.
Dumb.
That's amazing.
But anyway, so yeah, that was the raid stuff. Feels pretty good.
So, yeah.
Again,
we'll see.
as with everything that they change, I like that they change up stuff and mix things up a lot and are willing to make pretty sweeping changes on just about everything. Like, again, my biggest one is that they'll actually change how maps, you know, have stuff and things on them.
Their geography in general
Yeah.
and all that.
There we go. That's the good words. For real though, I'm at that point. But so next week's suit, what are we going with? What are we saying? And we'll kind of go ahead and do the same thing we did last time. Just pick one general, one raid, and one support. Emblem, what do you got?
For raid Methus, I think with us having our coming soon looming, we will probably potentially see transformable suits coming sooner rather than later. So yeah, raid Methus, support Ashimar, general Masala. All transformable suits.
Gustav, what do you? What are
I'm
you thinking?
still calling the Methus to end up being like a support, but that's only assuming that they actually do the whole healing thing or whatever, or like it's supporting other suits in that regard. It's kind of rough because a lot of our picks from GBO1 are starting to dwindle now, and there's not a lot of in between unless they start getting into advanced. Hazel still needs to be in there somewhere, either general or raid. Transformable wise, I can definitely see the Ashimar being a support though, just because it's just got a giant launcher for its main weapon when it's not when it isn't transformed. And raid, I'm not super sure like dedicatedly, so maybe Hambrabi or something like that. The Gaza for sure I think is gonna end up being like a raid whenever it comes out. I don't know. We're in a rough point where it's really hard to guess just because we don't know direction wise what they're gonna be doing. The suits are.
Yeah. So my guess
So
is
you're okay.
Gun Tank 2 as the raid.
That'd be amazing.
support.
Hey, that's my joke.
So we're gonna go with that one just because I can't think of any other supports that I would want. I'm gonna have to go with.
He's just thinking, guys.
Yep.
Gun Tank 2 for the general.
I mean that's really the again. I think we're gonna hear an announcement before we get the transforming stuff. That's kind of where I'm going with this at this point. So I feel like we're gonna something from the previous game for general and raid. I'm just trying to figure out which one that would be. So
They should
okay,
make
you
the
know what? Wait, what was the Ramzagok? We're gonna have the Ramzagok.
Yes, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, so
As
we're
the
gonna
raid.
do we're gonna do Ramzagok as the raid, and
They could do the ag as the
oh my gosh, yes. But I kind of don't want to change my support from the Gun Tank 2. And then what do we have for? Oh man, like I'm looking through the list right now. While you guys were doing that, I was looking through the list. Like which one is gonna be the general and/or raid?
I kind of hope nothing.
Barzam.
Barzam, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say I might go with Barzam because wait, can the Barzam transform? No, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah, so go with Barzam if we hit a.
It looks really solid as a general.
Yeah,
for sure.
Bawoo!
Bawoo!
Bring in the Bawoo! Glimmy Toto, let's go!
But yeah, I think
Gustav, I wanted to ask you, like, so where did your picks end up being? Like, you were talking about stuff, but like I got like two, like Ashimar or Bethis in general, or in support, and I wasn't sure. Like, so what were your like picks for each slot again?
Who?
You, Gustav. I just, from what you were saying, I wasn't sure. Like, you mentioned a couple of suits, so I was just
most of mine
wondering
was
why.
echoing yours because I think they had to take this in a
Gotcha.
certain direction if they're actually going to start doing the PvE stuff and all that coming up. But it's been really random right now in terms of what they've been pulling from. So, like, when you look at it on paper, like GBO, and like it kind of makes sense. But then, like, just MSV, things aren't really fitting any timeline right now, so we have a lot less direction.
Right.
I do kind of hope that we get some more obscure suits. I kind of hope that they're things that haven't been in GBO in general. But we'd have to I think I'd have to take a closer look at what we can actually pull from within like the range of stuff that we got up to Zeta.
What's the Striker Heavy Combat?
Striker Heavy Combat.
GM Striker Heavy Combat.
Let us see.
You know, and after we got the full armor ground type Gundam, I might change my general to like the full armor Slave Wraith. Although I'd like to see that as a support, but yeah.
I think the Striker Heavy Combat, isn't that just like what the
custom
is?
Yeah. I was gonna say, is that the custom?
It might just be the custom.
Oh well. Yeah, something like that. We'll see.
I still want them. I want them to pull, and I know it's a little too ahead. But we had the GM2. I kind of want them to do the variants like semi-striker stuff, even though those were deployed in the double and 90s. Just because technically they're still like repurposed older suits.
But yeah, I think that's about what I got. So yeah, I think me and Gustav's kind of like not sure, but I just want to see the Gun Tank 2 for sure. I think that's pretty much my like the one I want to see
Like,
pop
for
out.
the love of God,
I
just
do want to
bring
see.
it out.
I mean, there's that. There's the AG. There's the full armor Slave Wraith.
The
would take any of
Ramzagok,
those, and I guess the Ramzagok would work as
the
well.
Zaku half cannon would be hilarious if they made it
Oh
right.
my gosh, that would be awesome too.
Like just the G5 of like its cost range.
But like those like 5 suits are about all I want to see from the like other game that hasn't been put in yet. So that's
Some
really
people were
my
also
guess.
talking about like the other Gundam marks, like or like 7th Gundam and stuff like that.
I mean, we might get some of that. We might even get the what was the one from like the Striker Custom? Is that the Domel or Domel or whatever?
Dalmel,
Yeah,
yeah.
Katana.
Yeah, yeah. Who knows? We might see something like that pop up. But
Like if we hit that kind of stuff, like hardcore side story or like just advanced stuff in general, I'd be really happy. Just because we have a bigger pool to pull from if we actually start doing that.
suddenly the Hazel is general. Actually, you know what? That's gonna be my general. That's what I'm gonna save for general
Yeah.
Hazel.
Either that or like the Hazel too. Like if they went with the reserve as like a mid-level kind of thing, and then did like the progression into the Hazel too, like that could be like a good raid too.
But
Full custom
yeah,
could
I'd
just
see
be
the
like
Hazel.
a really busted general. Or like a
I'd say the
support.
Hazel being general too, honestly.
yeah. But cool. Sounds good. I'm gonna go ahead and get into some shoutouts. Or do you guys got anything else?
I'm good.
Cool. So
Okay, I'll start off then.
Cool.
Gustav _ X triple I. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, of course. We are currently doing still GBO2 in general. We finished up, like I was saying earlier, Untitled Duck game and also Kingdom Hearts 3. I'm trying to find another secondary game. We might check out the Resident Evil 3 demo soon. But besides that, we also have Yakuza Kiwami in the reserve tank, if I can't come up with anything else. So check in with the dailies. We'll be doing that as much as we can, especially once we learn a little bit more about whatever this other mode is going to be. Not to mention that in April, we're going to be having clan matches, hopefully coming back. Still haven't got more information about that, but hopefully. What about you guys?
All right, yep. And I am Gaming Emblem. You can find me in my bed, sleeping, recovering from my light illness. But no, whenever I am live, it's on twitch.tv/GamingEmblem. Hit me up on Fancy Star Online too. Ship 3 boys. Woo! Might be different whenever the PC version comes out, but PSO, light amounts of Path of Exile, Battle Operation, enter JRPG name here. I generally try to play those whenever I can get / find the time to play them as well. But we like to have fun, play video games on the internet, discuss and have just chill atmosphere or whatever. It could be good or not.
Cool. As always, everybody's information will be down in the description below. But anyway, I'm EG Magnum. I stream on Twitch, got a Discord, YouTube channel, of course, and also have a Twitter, stuff like that. So yeah, pretty much EG Magnum on all those. Yeah, I'll be playing some GBO2 dailies as much as I can. Maybe not today's unless I do those tomorrow morning. I don't know, something like that. But gonna be doing some Tarkov tomorrow, so that'll be fun. I'm gonna be streaming with Aoshi. He's gonna be carrying me. And then Path of Exile, of course, really good league so far. Some crazy broken mechanics that I definitely want to take advantage of before they even nerf it really soon, or they're definitely gonna nerf it next league. It won't make it. Other than that, Monster Hunter has the new raid, I think, tomorrow. and that's going to be big. So I don't know when I'm going to be able to get to that, but I'm going to try to get to that soon. Borderlands 3 probably with Chad next week. Sadly, probably won't get to Doom Eternal, but probably will come back to that at some point, especially if it goes on sale later on. And Final Fantasy 7 Remake. And also, we've got a tabletop campaign coming up next month. So yeah, lots of craziness going on. Who knows? We might push it back a little bit later with all the games coming out, but we'll try to
Too
fit.
many games.
We'll try to fit something somewhere. It's just so much right now. Which, I mean, yeah, staying inside, playing games, pretty much. There we go. But anyway, guys, leave us a comment down below, like, comment, subscribe, all that. Let us know what you guys want to hear us talk about in the future. But anyway, that'll be for this one. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. Peace.
Peace.
See ya.